Hey, Adam, John from Cleveland here. I was just making my coffee at work, and when I opened the garbage to throw my my wrappers in there was a stir stick sitting right on the top of the garbage. So I picked it out, used that stir stick in my coffee. Thought you'd appreciate it. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yep. Good. Expose yourself to germs. Otherwise, you're going to end up like one of these kids with all the allergies. All right. Alicia Krause is here.
I am.
Chef Gruel, by the way, American Gravies, is an online show. His stuff online is fantastic, and everyone should follow him. New episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. All right. So, Alicia Krause.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You ready for some breaking news?
Sure.
I did not know that our former second lady, and thank God not first lady of the United States, Jill Biden, was married before.
Oh, you didn't?
Did either of y'all know this?
Yeah.
Okay. Chef is like, I don't know if I knew this. So according to TMZ, who they're saying broke the story, Jill Biden's ex-husband was charged with murdering his second wife.
He said, I think he accused, at some point, he accused Biden of stealing his wife away from him.
Oh, that's weird because the timeline doesn't add up. Jill married Bill. His name is William Stevenson, goes by Bill. Jill married Bill in February of 1970 when he was 23 years old and she was a student at the University of Delaware. In 1974, Jill and Bill separated and went through, apparently, according to TMZ, once again, a nasty divorce. Joe Biden married Jill a couple of years later in June of 1977. 74 to 77 is a pretty decent gap, so maybe the guy was a little...
I'm going with you're right on that. But obviously, if he killed his wife,
it's really scary and sad.
But I mean, there's also there's a version of it where it works.
Where Joe stole.
Well, you
Bill's
don't get
wife.
married. Some people date for years before they get married.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
saying. Not in the olden days, though.
Yeah, I know it sounds old, but I was old.
So Linda Stevenson was pronounced dead at the scene on December 28th. She was found unresponsive in their living room that night at 11:15 p.m. by local police. The Newcastle County, Delaware police officers unsuccessfully administered aid at the scene, and he was reportedly cooperating with police the entire time. The cause and manner of the death have not been released. Dispatch audio from the incident mentions cardiac arrest, and he is the one that called 911, but he was arrested this past Monday and is now held in jail on a $500,000 bond.
So William Bill Stevenson, first husband, the guy we're talking about, claimed that Jill had an affair with Joe Biden while she was still married to Stevenson. Stevenson has publicly stated that he was betrayed by the Bidens. That's what he says. Now, I don't know about that. Now, I do know Joe Biden is a piece of shit liar because there's weird stuff. There's big stuff people do, and then there's little stuff people do. And I focus more on the little stuff because that's what really makes you a sociopath. And like that time when he was explaining that he was the first Fulbright scholar and his thing and top of his law class and had a dual degree and was the only one who got 5 scholarships, and it turned out none of it is true. I'm like, that sounds kind of innocuous. That makes you a sociopath.
Yep.
If you're going to say that into a microphone, it means you're a fucking insane liar. It makes you an insane liar. And when his wife and his kid got killed by the truck driver, he kept saying the guy was drunk.
Yeah.
And the family went, he was not drunk. Would you please stop saying he was drunk? And by the way, you don't have to say he was drunk. He just ran a red light. Or maybe actually his wife was at fault. Whoever got killed was at fault. But stop saying he drank his lunch. And he kept saying it.
Yep.
Which makes him a socio-fucking-path.
He also said he was the first black president. I mean, so that might have been brain breakage. But then you remember his uncle who fought the Trobriand tribe on Papua New Guinea in World War II and saved America.
Right.
All the stories.
Yeah, and he had to fight Pop-Tart with a chain down at the swimming pool. All right, let's see. Bill Stevenson.
I mean, we have a picture of this guy. He looks a little kooky.
He claims he introduced Joe and Jill in 1972.
Oh.
And their relationship started in 74. When he was still married to her, blah, 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 has mentioned incidents such as Jill declining to go with him to meet Bruce Springsteen because she said he needed, I can't even read all, looked after Joe's boys. I don't know. They knew each other, something. Maybe there was crossover. I can't judge. But anyway, this guy's nuts.
He's saying he made the intro between the two of them? Because that's a big deal. You never make the intro.
No, No, I mean...
So never let your second husband be someone that your first husband introduced you to?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
There's some math to it.
But listen, famously, Lee Majors is married to Farrah Fawcett. Farrah Fawcett is the most desirable person on the planet in, 1978. Lee Majors, is going out of town, so he has Ryan O'Neal look after her, the greatest coxman in Hollywood, look after the greatest model in Hollywood, and then he goes to Canada to shoot a film, and what happens?
Why don't they just travel with their spouses everywhere?
Because he wanted to fuck someone in Canada.
Oh, well, then he had it coming.
I have no idea where he went, but
he
literally told Ryan O'Neal, look after my piping hot 28-year-old wife.
Why wouldn't you pick one of your big, fat, ugly friends? Be
Danny
like, look,
DeVito, I want you to look after my lady,
this
Danny.
is where men and women are different. Like, if I leave town, I don't call Gisele Bundchen and ask her to come help my husband, right?
Right.
No, my mother-in-law does that. But also, it could be his big fat friend.
She calls Gisele Bundchen, or am I missing something?
No, my mother-in-law, helps him when I'm out of town. But I'm saying that, you could have your big fat friend come over and your wife would be like, well, he cooks and he cleans and he got the kids ready for school and he laughs at my jokes and he thinks I'm smart. Whereas men are hot and women are so much more diverse and we have different qualities that we care about.
You will hear me get into this with Megyn Kelly, but okay, I'll try to describe it clearly. Tiger Woods, his first wife, Norden, blonde, whatever, the best looking person.
Erin something. She was gorgeous.
Yeah, it wasn't that. She had a name. Anyway, she was the best looking person I've ever seen. She was a nanny. So somebody let that thing into their house, not Tiger.
She was a nanny for another pro player, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a nanny for another. I mean, that had to be the most secure wife in the world to see that as a 19-year-old.
Elin. Was it Elin Nordegren?
Yes.
Elin Nordegren.
That's the point. I mean, all right. So the point is, yes, she was a nanny for another player.
Women are really stupid or they're really self-confident.
But look at Schwarzenegger's nanny.
Yeah, well, that's what I discussed. I said guys got a lot of range. But see, here's the whole thing. Schwarzenegger's nanny was their nannies. Elin is like a first night nanny. That's you're gonna have trouble getting through the first weekend without coming at her. And Schwarzenegger's nanny, that's year 3. Eventually get around to grinding. That nanny.
That's grinding.
Yeah, that's a grinding nanny. Police department said that Hunter Biden's wife is driven into the path of the tractor trailer. The truck driver identifies cursed, whatever. And it ruined that guy's life. Yeah. Because it would if you killed somebody. Well, first off, it would just ruin your life killing someone anyway. But then to have the guy turn into Joe Biden and constantly say you were drinking is cruel. It's insane. And it shows maybe you can pick up a couple of sympathy points, but you got enough. Your wife and kid's dead. That's enough.
The traveling on the train to D.C. as a single dad while serving the constituents of Delaware is a good enough political story that you don't need to defame.
Fucking sociopath liar, which is weird that people, because I know the thing is well, maybe he wasn't good at governing, but he's a good dude. Good dude. Yep. No, not a good dude. All right, sorry. What's next? What is it?
Next story. We actually have a video to set this up because remember a few years ago when Trump called a lot of countries, including Haiti, dumps and shithole countries?
Yes.
Well, and Democrats and celebrities were like, how dare he? Haiti is one of the most beautiful, accepting, and wonderful countries on the earth.
Right.
Well, they're changing their tune.
All right. This is whom, by the way? Hold on. Wait. We have to stop. We have to say who the person who's talking is.
This is Frederica Wilson.
Who is the what of Texas?
Frederica, she's a congresswoman.
Yeah, is she Texas?
I believe so. I mean, if you're wearing that hat, you probably are.
Here we go.
And they are terrorized. They're terrorized. Haitian nationals. This is cruelty. This is inhumane. And this is a death sentence. Because we already know the consequences. Because in Haiti, there's open warfare and rape. There's ravaging violence against women and children. There are no school days, no work schedule. You do what the gangs want you to do. and they are terrorized.
So she's saying we can't send illegal immigrants from Haiti back to Haiti because it's such a shithole.
By the way,
Yeah.
the
Full circle.
Pacoima is a shithole, and San Fernando's a shithole, and parts of Chatsworth are shitholes, but you could actually go there and live. Doesn't sound like you'd be raped and terrorized and you couldn't go to school, So this is worse than a shithole, actually. This is a rape hole, which is worse than a shithole. So, yeah, I know. They always make whatever it is they say always comes around to them being wrong or being hypocrites or whatever, all of it.
So I don't think she'll be vacationing there. No girls' weekend.
But nobody covers it. That's the thing. Nobody covers it. Just like I didn't know that Biden had said that about the drunk driver. I always assumed it was a drunk driver because he'd said it so many times. Sorry, I didn't know that wasn't true until like 2 years ago when I did a little deep diving. No one will do any deep diving.
Well, what they're not going to do anymore, like if you do watch that famous clip, Dawson, about Biden, in that late 80s when he's talking about his degree and graduating at the top half of his class and the only one with the dual degree and all that kind of stuff. And then they just come on the evening news and they just go, he's lying about all that stuff. They wouldn't do that to a Democrat anymore. That was just the evening news.
Like Walter Cronkite used to do that. Like Tom
you'll see this goes well into the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? You would have to go find Fox, or you'd have to go watch Tucker Carlson's podcast or something. That would not be on the evening news, that they would just do that to a Democrat anymore. Just call him a liar.
What's funny, though, is the way in which they call Republicans liars is they try and connect these dots that don't exist. So, for example, if the story is, Matt Gaetz was eating a chicken sandwich when he said the following, right? And then they say, well, fact check, not true, because he actually wasn't eating a chicken sandwich. It was a burger. Therefore, it's all fake.
Well,
remember, like SNL actually made a part of cultural conversation that Sarah Palin couldn't see Russia from her house.
That's right.
Because of the Katie Couric interview.
Yep.
Right.
When they were like, well, how close is it? It was based off of a Katie Couric interview in which she was like, how far is Russia? And she got it off by like a few months.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing they do is now, if they had to report this story, they wouldn't say Biden's a liar. They would say Republicans pounce on the story. All right, here's the story. It's funny.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
His memory failed him. He's a sociopath. By the way, I never went to college, but Dr. Drew is a board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist, and he went to Emory, I think. Amherst, and then he went to USC or whatever. And I go, is there any part of your degrees that you forgot about?
Yeah. All that hard work.
Do you have an engineering degree that you thought you had, but you never really had it? Like, don't you pretty much know, if there's anything you know, it's your fucking kids' names and your degrees, right? So what is going on?
That's unbelievable. But the thing is that this would, as you said, this would never get covered right now. And furthermore, it comes back to immigration, right? So you have all these clips of people like Biden and Bernie Sanders and all these people saying that we can't have the immigrants
Hillary
here. They're
Clinton.
taking workers. They're away from Americans and American workers. And they are completely silent on any of that. Wouldn't the news want to cover it in the same manner they cover this?
You would also, like, to Frederick Wilson's point, if there are such horrible gang-related rapes and murders and kids can't go to school and businesses can't open and operate, then shouldn't we be having stricter requirements of funneling those people into the states and allowing the women and children who actively need asylum here in, but maybe not the bad guys with guns.
These are not smart people. They can't think that far. Like, you're connecting dots. There's one dot on their kind of dot dashboard.
Yep.
And these people are handed a piece of paper to read it. She probably hadn't read it no more than 3 minutes before she went up
Out there for the cameras.
That is it. I need people to understand this, how stupid politicians are. These are not the best and the brightest. Nobody wants to do it. And the only reason half of these people do want to do it is because they're corrupt or just dumb.
And we came to that without any college degrees. I don't think between any of us.
Ooh, no degrees?
No degrees. Drop out.
Oh, they didn't have a homeschool college you could go to?
I went to New York to go to college, and then I dropped out to start working for Hannity. Because I was like, I'm going to school to work in media, so why would I get into debt to have a job?
By the way, I would have no idea why anyone would go to college, and the expense is insane. And
I got culinary arts.
Oh yeah,
that counts.
So
well, no,
I'm a liberal.
But that's like going to a trade school.
Yeah, well,
I
it was a
was gonna
college
say.
degree.
Yeah. Oh, it is?
Yeah. I
There's
did.
my ignorance. I didn't know that.
Went back for business, but that was a huge mistake. So I'm sorry, guys. I'll leave now.
Yeah,
can
could
leave
you
now.
close the
Go
door?
run for office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went.
Were you top of your class?
Yeah, I went vocational training all the way. Or you can just go down to a radio station, drive the van, and learn how
Intern.
everything works. Yeah, just
Pour
intern.
coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, not anymore, though. Maybe podcasting you could go intern at, but not good old talk radio is not the same as it once was a bajillion years ago when I started.
No, that's true. And also people don't like kids are too soft to pay their dues now. They don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like they show up as an intern and then they show up their first day and then you go, all right, go on a Starbucks run. And they go, I didn't come here to go get Starbucks.
I mean,
And
you
it's like,
probably
shut
deal with
up.
that at the restaurant all the time.
That's all it is. You got to people go to culinary school or VOTEC program or any of this, which used to be something that was of any value. And I say, okay, everybody starts on the dish pit. I don't care who you are. You start on dish pit. I spend most of my time on the dish pit. Today, they go, I'm not here to wash dishes.
Right.
Then what job do you want? I want to be the chef. We're not hiring for a chef. Well, I went to culinary school, so sous chef. I'll take a sous chef as long as you pay me six figures. Like, get out of here. So we know now. I started this about 10 years ago. If you went to culinary school, you don't even get a look at the resume.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Don't even get a look. Nope. Every single person that's worked for me that went to culinary school ended up walking on the job.
Really?
No call, no show.
Yeah.
My entire crew right now has been with me for 15 years, not a single one. My chef right now started off, this was his second job. You know what his first job was? Working the overnight shift at an old folks home cleaning up poop. Mm-hmm. And then I pulled him from that
He
job.
hustles.
And the guy is so great. And we even run into that problem nowadays, people cleaning up old people's poop because, it happens. So he's the man for the job. Plus, he's a chef of 15 years.
Has you say things have changed because of Ozempic?
Yep.
You've noticed it?
Yeah, just you know what it is, as crazy as this sounds. So as I joke about working the dish pit, so when I go into a restaurant, the way our restaurant is designed, and you look down and I can see into the dining room from the dish pit, and we don't have a door there for that purpose. So what I do is I'll work the dish pit here and there because I want to see what's left on the plates. If there's something consistently being left on a plate, then I got to either change the menu item or we're over portioning, right? That's a way to save money. You serve a little bit less, but nobody notices because they don't eat it anyways. Every plate that's coming back now is fries. People aren't eating the fries or the burger with the bread picked away.
But fries are one of the cheaper things for you to make in the kitchen, right?
Used to be, not anymore. The price of potatoes went up in 2018 and they never came back down again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating. The people that I've talked to that are doing GLP-1 stuff are, and I feel like so many moms, maybe it's an LA mom thing, like so many moms are doing like peptides and microdosing GLP-1.
Microdosing, yeah.
And they said that it's increased their desire for like fruits and vegetables and decreased their desire for like carbs and proteins.
Yeah. And
which
proteins,
is weird.
interesting.
Which is weird though, because you need to increase your protein when you're on it because part of the weight that you're losing is muscle mass.
Okay. So but the microdosing, explain that again. The microdosing is like a marginal amount every day.
A marginal amount that you're supposed to be working with a doctor, like a friend of ours that we're on Fox with from time to time, Dr. Sheila Nazarian.
Okay.
It's like, I've been doing it for 2 years. Everybody should be doing this. That she thinks it has long-term benefits. And on top of that, like you're trying to get rid of that last like 5 to 10 pounds and you're working out, you're eating healthy. The GLP-1 is going to help you reset and do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very skeptical. I'm like about to be 40, so I'm having a midlife crisis of like, should I be doing all these things? And I haven't done any of the things. And it's like, they kind of scare me actually.
I got excited when I heard microdosing. Just that the word was like, oh, I can do this and something's going to be a little off. But then I found out it was peptides. So it wasn't as exciting.
The microdosing thing I have heard from reputable doctors before, but there's also a version where you just don't eat the French fries. You don't need to inject something and then don't eat French fries. You can just not eat the French fries.
It goes back to the agency. Come on.
Yeah, and
Self-control. What?
I'm scared about the agency and the self-control and the discipline part. I do not. I have a theory, and I stand by this theory, which is I have 2 or 3 people, particularly in my life, who never had to work out, could eat whatever they wanted, and looked amazing in a bikini and a bathing suit. Like they just did. They're out there.
Bitches.
They're out there. They're
I was
just
thinking
women. Women. There's men and women. I knew them both, and they
Unicorns.
both. They can do it.
Yeah.
It does. You don't see it that often, but once in a while, they're out there.
Yep.
And they ate like shit. They never worked out. They did whatever they wanted. They look good in their underpants. Okay. Both of them had 0 discipline.
Wow.
They never had any discipline, and it fucked their lives up.
Oh.
Because they never had the discipline of having to work at it.
Work for their beauty.
Do, eat, think about what you're...
Yeah.
They wanted a donut, they ate a donut. They didn't want to work out, they didn't work out.
Yeah.
They never worked out, they ate a donut. They didn't care. But it trickled into other facets of their life.
I could see that.
There were shitty students and lazy people, and they never really got their shit together. And there's other people that are like... God, like, oh, if I eat one donut, it goes right to my hips. So it's like, no, thank you. But what they're exercising is agency, the discipline. And they're disciplining themselves. And the Ozempic thing, there's going to be a discipline issue coming. We're already there. We're already having, this is a discipline issue we're dealing. I don't mean disciplining your kids. I mean self-discipline.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking about it this morning. Like everything you do in this society, success-wise, is really just about work and work ethic. And look, I'm as guilty of it as the next guy. I could do more. There's more. I could do a lot. I could be a lot more disciplined in my life.
And he says that right before he promotes his 3 sold-out shows in 4 different cities this weekend.
What I'm saying, I do more than most, but I don't do... it's like I should get up at 5 every morning and work out. I do not do that. It would be better. I should. And when I think about all the people I know that are successful, we always talk about how gifted this person is, or who his daddy is, or he was born on third base and thought he hit a triple, or if I was gifted like you in dance or comedy or something, I could, whatever. No. These people always outwork everybody.
Well, it's Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule, right? Where he studied and said, funny enough, like Beethoven, they said he was a gifted child pianist, but at the age of 7, he had actually put in 10,000 hours of practice because his parents were maniacal. They would make him play 12, 18 hours every single day, so he just happened to put it in at an earlier age. It was not, he's gifted that he could perhaps read a little bit. There was some muscle memory that built up quicker. It was the 10,000 hours. It always comes down to 10,000 hours.
Yeah, and I don't know. When you're poor and dumb, and you come from where I come from, which is the land of the poor and the dumb, you just look at rich people or successful people or business people, and you just go, I don't even know who this guy is. Where he's got his credit card and his Mercedes Benz. Like, we didn't have credit cards. We were just poor and dumb. Then I got older and I got exposed to these people, and I started spending a lot of time with them, and I realized super quickly they're not any smarter than the dumb idiots who were poor with me, but they were motivated.
Yeah.
Like they weren't lazy, and they worked real hard. And right. They weren't gifted at anything. They just were focused, and they outworked people. And there's a kind of a physical version of that. There's mostly a mental version of it. But in this country, and maybe not Haiti, but here, you can fucking do whatever you want, but you got to kind of get on it. But it's there, but you got to do the work. You don't have to be fat at all, but it's going to be tough. Yeah. I mean, if you have Oprah was like, I didn't get it. I needed this Ozempic, whatever. I watched...
Serena Williams was the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. I watched Castaway with Tom Hanks the other day. Tom Hanks was 220 pounds when he hit that island, and he was $155 when he left that island. And that's just not eating. He just didn't eat. He just didn't do it. And you go, well, he was trapped on an island. You can do it. You can. You're not. You should build that up. But Ozempic is like, it's kind of a weird conceit. Like if you really think about it, like if you go, okay, what do we take supplements for? Or what do we take injections for? Or whatever like that. You go, well, steroids. Guys will take steroids to get huge. And they'll go, that guy's 67 years old and he's built like a brick shithouse. You go, okay, well, that's impossible without the steroids.
Jeff Bezos.
It's impossible without it. You know what I mean? And then you'll go, what is this? So it's a vaccine for smallpox or something. It's like, okay, you got to get that shot. And there's many other medications that people are on for various things that you must take that your body doesn't produce. You don't have to take Ozempic. You just don't pick up the donut. You don't need it to not pick up the donut. You can not pick up the donut.
This is like the kind of how I feel about a lot of plastic surgery. Ozempic was created originally for people who really needed the help, like people with severe like diabetes or like obesity that is deadly, right? It was created for people at the end of the rope that needed something to solve. Kind of like, breast augmentation was created like originally for women who had double mastectomies because of breast cancer. But our culture is so weird and lazy and I think over-sexualized. So they're like, but how can we use this to make skinny bitches even hotter?
Right.
Like, how can we use this to make that Instagram person or that OnlyFans person look like more the way that she wants to or needs to make money? And then, and it contributes then broadly to society to just sheer laziness.
Yeah, it goes from medical to vanity very quickly. That is a steep downhill. You know what's really weird as you're explaining this? I'm thinking, so ibuprofen or aspirin, Tylenol, what have you. Like, I'll get a headache and Lauren's like, I'll take a Tylenol. And I'll be like, I don't want to. Why? I need to deal with it. I need to learn how to live with this headache right now. I don't want to take the Tylenol. What she also doesn't know is I threw it away a long time ago, so I don't know where it is. But nonetheless,
it's okay. Like, she's a woman. She has some in her purse.
She does. It's a weird obsession of mine.
I don't take the Tylenol because it's too many calories, bro.
I don't take the Tylenol.
Too many calories.
And that's a metaphor. Don't take the Tylenol.
No, you don't. Listen, you're talking to a poor guy who never had insurance, and I just rode shit out. Strep throat. All sorts of horrible shit. I got whatever that disease is. And Andrew, you got to look it up. And Drew told me what it was once, although he's such an asshole. And I'll tell you why. After the 94 earthquake.
Is it like water? Something was in the water or something?
It let there was a syndrome that took place after the 94 earthquake where they hypothesized that the earth moved or whatever and spores or whatever got and I got this horrible infection but I didn't have any insurance or money or anything and I just laid there and sweat through my sheets, sweat through my bed every night with lesions in my mouth and on my face. Yes, following the January 1994 Northridge earthquake, a significant outbreak of,
Well, you want to say that word?
Coca-Cola, Papa.
Coccidioidomycosis?
Yeah. The mycosis part's good. All right. Valley fever, they call it. I lived in the valley. Occurred in Ventura, California. The earthquake triggered landslides and shaking released spores from the soil. Caused the 200 whatever report.
200. It says only 203. You would have been 204.
I know, but I didn't report it. Cause symptoms. The illness manifested in fever, coughing, fatigue, muscle aches. Typically counting 1 to 3 weeks exposure. A region at Ventura Valley, Simi Valley, high risk groups. I had lesions in fever every night, and I didn't have aspirin, I didn't have Tylenol.
Stop.
I just literally sweat through my sheets every fucking night.
That sounds horrible.
I did like laying there.
Horrible.
Like Pepion on the prison island. I was just like, I didn't know anybody. I was also had weird low self-esteem. Like I didn't have aspirin or anything. I didn't have Tylenol. So I had lesions in my mouth, on my face, and I just night sweats all night for a week. And then when it was done, it was just done.
You went back to work.
I never took anything. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You'd have like an $80,000 medical bill.
Right.
You'd be on 13 different prescriptions.
The reason I hate Drew is because years later, when I hooked up with Drew and we're doing Loveline, and I go, I got this thing, man, right after around 94. I probably didn't even bring up the earthquake. I just went, and I had lesions on my face and my mouth, a sweat, all night sweat, fever, and he goes, herpes. And I go, no, I had a girlfriend the whole time. He has herpes. I go, she didn't have herpes. She must have given you herpes. She didn't have herpes.
It was latent.
It was herpes. I go, it wasn't. I was sick. I was like sweating through my sheets every night. Well, yeah, that's what you get with herpes. You go through the sheet sweating. I go, no, I thought it was just the lesions. And he goes, no, that was herpes. And every time it came up, he'd just go, herpes. And he would say it in the microphone too. That's like amazing. We're on the radio. And I was always like, I don't think I had herpes because I never had herpes, and then she didn't have herpes. Cynthia, my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, I was like, don't just at me.
Yeah, it was the greatest. It was the greatest moment ever.
That's amazing.
Her mom
was listening to the show.
No.
Oh,
okay. There you go. No, I was done with her by the time I got in the radio. I was too big time.
Herpes are forever, so you're never done with it.
Well, that's true. No, it was comical. It was the greatest thing ever. I'd hit rock bottom. The earthquake destroyed her apartment building in Studio City, my girlfriend. So she was having to live with me, even though we weren't really living with each other. But I had roommates in a rented house in La Crescenta. So she had to stay in this little room in the corner with me. Didn't have a bathroom attached to it in this rental house with no heat. And then her car blew a head gasket, and she couldn't afford to fix her car because her work shut down. It was on Ventura. Her stuff was all in Ventura by where the liquefaction in the river, the LA River, got all fucked up. So her apartment was condemned. Her work was closed. My work was closed. Her car was broken with a head gasket, and we didn't have money to fix it. So her car was broken. She was living at my house. She had no income. I had no income. My work shut down. And her goddamn mom had scheduled to come in from Minnesota like a month earlier.
Was she Somalian?
She's still coming. Yeah, she just got done ripping off some daycare center. So she goes, and my mom's coming. She's got the tickets, and she's coming. And can she stay on the sofa of the house I rented with my roommates? And she's in it, and I was like, it's kind of crowded, but your apartment's condemned. Your mom's coming out to visit you. I'd be kind of a douche if I said, well, no. And she didn't have any money either. Mm-hmm. Then I break out, and I get all these lesions on my face and everything. And I'm not sleeping. I'm sweating through the night. I got lesions on my face. And at some point, there's a knock on the door. And I just open it, and it's her mom, like holding a suitcase. And she looks at me. I've never met her before. She looks at me. She sees all these lesions on my face, and I'm sweating profusely. She goes, oh, my God. What the fuck is going on here? You're the boyfriend? And I just go, bitch, I don't want to fucking hear a word of it. You don't know fucking what I've been going through. Your daughter's car's broken down. My fucking work shut down. Her job shut down. Her apartment shut. I'm in no mood for this conversation. You can go in there and sleep on the sofa and shut the fuck up, and I'll go back in my room and go fucking sweat through the sheet, but you picked the wrong day to start in with me.
So what happened?
She fucking came in, and then Cynthia came around the corner, and she's like, what's going on with that guy? And I'm like, he's got a disease.
I gave him herpes.
Go to the doctor. He doesn't have insurance. It was the worst.
This is horrible.
It was horrible.
This is horrible.
I actually feel like this is a scene in a comedy.
It was literally the bottoming out of my life. And 4 months later, I met Jimmy Kimmel, and a year and a half later, I was a millionaire.
Wow.
That was basically it.
Okay, in between that 4 months, though, I got to know, how did it end with the girlfriend?
Yeah,
what
how
happened
did
with
it
the
end
mom?
with you?
What'd you do that night? Did you make dinner? Did you take her out? What happened? Or you just laid in your herpy bud?
Oh, you can't take her out. No one had any money. There was no money.
So you guys just played with your herpes all night?
Yeah, we just set a herpy party.
Oh, my gosh.
It was horrible.
That is awful.
I bottomed out. I know when I bottomed out. It was 94 earthquake. I know.
So now I've always been afraid. I've lived here for 12 years and we haven't had the big one that everybody talks about us having.
Yeah.
Now I know to be warned that we could all get like this weird spore virus.
Yeah, that's
lesions.
crazy. Cyclospora coccamus or something.
Yeah.
That is
It was
nuts.
herpes. I had to check that later. But anyway, no, that's what I got. I got the earthquake disease. All right, one more story.
All right, one last story. So the Epstein files, all the rage this week. Everybody's trying to figure out who's in the files, who isn't in the files. And apparently you're guilty if you're just named in the files.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part is like anybody who ever interviewed him or investigated him, who's also named, people just assume that, anyway, whatever. So now, Mamdani, though, socialist darling, he's in trouble. Supporters were protesting outside of his home after his mom appeared in the Epstein files. His mother's a filmmaker, Mira Nair, and appeared in the files several times. Apparently, you can search her name and find dozens of times. This did not sit well with the people of New York who supported Mamdani. She founded a 1988 nonprofit for street children in India, and it sounds like the photos of Mamdani and his mother with a bunch of celebrities seem to be, some of them say that some of the images are AI generated, but when it's 2026, and of course Democrats and some traitor Republicans have become obsessed with Epstein Island conspiracy theorists, and your mom appears in the Epstein files, well, it's not going to be a really great look for him. So they're saying that they did appear in the files. Apparently they could have met and he could have donated to her nonprofit, but that all of the other images that the FBI gathered are probably AI generated and not real.
I heard there's millions of pieces of
like
paper.
3.5 million files.
Yeah.
3.5 million of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, I will never try to talk anybody out of a conspiracy theory ever again. I used to, Ed Asner sat right where you're sitting and was explaining that the Twin Towers were wired by the FBI and the CIA and taken down, that the airplane, and I tried to talk him out of it, but no more.
No.
Anybody's got, Macron's wife's got a dick, and the Jews took down the Twin Towers, and Epstein was a Mossad agent. What am I going to say? You're crazy? You can't.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird. It might be the seat because I'm feeling a little conspiratorial.
Well, it rubs off on you in the studio.
Let me tell you something about.
Kind of like herpes.
Let me tell you about. It's called Valley Fever. Let me tell you about conspiracy theorists. At least the old school ones. The new ones, not so much. Old school conspiracy theorists. And that's like Oliver Stone and Ed Asner and those kind of guys. They weren't conspiracy theorists. They hated the government.
Yeah.
And so every single, it's like they were saying, well, 9/11 was a conspiracy, whatever. And you go, oh, what happened? And they go, the government wired the thing, And you go, oh, and then you go, Kennedy assassination, what happened? They go, the CIA hired. And it was like, oh, you guys hate the government.
The moon landing.
It was pretty easy to figure out. And what I learned, the reason I stumbled onto it is because I was like talking to Ed Asner, and he was like, all these conspiracy things. And then like at a certain point, for some reason, like the Holocaust and World War II came up. Mm-hmm. And then I go, we liberated Europe, and we'll beat the Nazis back and liberated those concentration camps and stuff. And Ed was like, yeah, we could have done it 2 years earlier, but we didn't. Eisenhower knew the Jews were being put away, but he stopped a mission. It's like, oh, we're the bad guys in this fucking equation. We're the bad guys. We're the bad guys because we're beating the Japanese in the Pacific theater, and then the Germans in the European theater, and we didn't get to Krakow fast enough. Like, we didn't get to the concentration camps fast enough because we're so busy fighting the entire fucking world. Ed Asner blames us for not liberating the camps 18 months earlier, and we could have. And by the way, I get it. Like, war is one of those things where someone will go, this is happening, and you go, well, sorry, it's horrible, but we got the fate of the world here. But that's when I realized Ed Asner hates the government. He hates us. And the conspiracy theories are just a sanctioned way to hate the government.
I think with the Epstein files, to piggyback on that, it's a sanctioned way to hate the rich and famous.
Right.
That's a good point.
And I think that actually for people from the right, left, and center specifically, and like I'm somebody who's worked and volunteered and supports anti-trafficking organizations, so I take it very seriously and think that P. Diddy should have been tried and in jail for longer. But all that to say, I think that it is that victim mentality of, well, who can I make the bad guy? So when things are shitty in my life, I can take it out on someone else and blame it on this massive cabal that controls everything that I have no control of. And look, they're the bad guy. It's not me being a lazy bum in my mom's basement.
Right. So I think old school lazy was conspiracy was always government. It always ended up at the government. And then the new one, sort of something with Donald Trump, although he doesn't really represent the government. I mean, even though he's the president, they don't think of him as that. They think of him as fuck Trump, you know.
Dictator.
So there's that.
Fascist.
And then there's a little more Israel and Jews going on out there. I think there's more of that. Mm-hmm. But it's a little less the CIA and the FBI knew what they were doing. And then there's a new school, which is more me, which is like what the FBI was doing during COVID and whose names they were, deplatforming and whose phones they were tapping and stuff. And Russiagate, 100% Russiagate. Like, I'm like, oh, now I'm joining Ed Asner, but we're from different angles. But I get deep now. I am more of a deep state guy with the whole Russiagate stuff and Hillary Clinton and Steele dossier and all that Strzok and Page and all
Hunter
that.
Biden laptop.
The Hunter Biden laptop. You guys had the laptop. You couldn't verify it, although you had the laptop. Although all anyone had to do was really ask people questions, and they didn't.
You mean do their jobs?
Leslie Stahl could have done her. Sir, please, no. We're CBS. This is 60 Minutes. Oh, God.
But they use the notion of conspiracy theories to conflate with their selective journalism, right? So that's they used it. They're like, oh, this guy is crazy, but he's got a large audience. Let's use what he's doing to explain what we're doing and conflate the two because we hate each other fundamentally. And they'll say, we want nothing to do with you, which will only help us.
Yeah.
Right.
It was pretty good math.
All right, let me get some plugs in. Why shouldn't I pay taxes every single weekend? I'm going to be out in Orlando at the Funny Bone doing a live pod with Michael Yo. That'll be on Thursday. That'll be tomorrow. And then Friday, Naples, Off the Hook. Good food over there, Chef Carolla.
Sounds like it, Off the Hook.
Comedy clubs normally don't, but you go there for the food. Early shows are sold out, but I think there's some late shows that are open. You get some tickets, and then I'll just get up at 4:45 in the morning and hustle back to LA after I'm done paying my taxes. You got adamcarolla.com for all the live shows, and then you got Alicia Krause over here with her weekly op-ed at the Washington Examiner, Newsmakers, and Chef Gruel, American Gravy. That's on iHeartRadio, and then new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Instagram at Andrew Gruel, and website chefgruel.com. The restaurant, let's see,
Calico Fish House.
Delicious. So been there. A real treat. Go there and watch a chef wash dishes. So, until next time, Sam Carolla for Alicia Krause and Chef Andrew Gruel saying mahalo. Thanks for tuning into the Adam Carolla Show. You can watch the full show on YouTube. Just search Adam Carolla Show and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also get the podcast wherever you like to listen. And for extra content, ad-free episodes, and more, you can head over to our Substack and sign up today.
What is the mystique about beating the other guy, about winning? whatever it is, it's a mystique that's held in high reverence by people in racing.
March 22nd, join the Adam Carolla Show for a live podcast celebrating the legendary racing legacy of Paul Newman.
You can drive hard, and you're not going to win any races. The only way that you're ever going to win a race is just to be right on the edge of it all the time.
Come see Adam Carolla's collection of Paul Newman's championship-winning race cars, authentic race memorabilia, special guest interviews, and an audience Q&A.
If you see anything, kid, you let us know.
Sunday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. at the Jordan Family Event Center in Orange County.
If they put you on the spot, we got to fold the comp.
VIP packages are available with early access, meet and greet, and premium seating.
Take it easy, kid. We're not going to lose them now. We had them 10 years ago when you decided to be somebody.
The Adam Carolla Show celebrates the Paul Newman race car collection.
Yeah, fine.
Sunday, March 22nd at the Jordan Family Event Center. Get your tickets now at adamcarolla.com.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The show's been going to mandate you get it on. I'm in Texas. I'm at John Clay Wolf's studio. And Ted Nugent has joined me. I'm a huge fan of Ted's work on and off the stage.
Well, I would like to present you with the Ted Nugent Swinging T-Rex Scrotum Award for Truth, Logic, and Common Sense, because every time you speak Adam Carolla, you hit the nerves of we the people in the asset column, working hard, playing hard America. I mean, in all sincerity, thank you for that.
Thanks, Ted. Well, Ted and I were talking off the mic, and he said, what gives you your common sense and your logic? And I said, I think it's my building background.
I actually said, because you're a carpenter.
Yeah, it helps you stay logical, grounded reality on reality's terms. But you said, for you, it was sort of chopping your own wood that kept you who you are.
Rugged individualism, that's not even legal anymore. But yeah, my dad raised me to be an asset to the family and not a liability to the family, which means we had to do all the chores together and do all the chores from the time we could walk. I think I was walking at 8 months. But bottom line is, I just met a couple little girls at John's auto museum here today, and they came up. Their dad wanted to introduce them to me. They were, maybe 5 and 6 years old, and they knew my song Fred Bear, and I gave them guitar picks, but I made sure I asked them, do you do chores? Have you ever done the laundry? Do you vacuum? Have you done the dishes for your mom? Then here, you can have a Ted Nugent guitar pick. So I think that self-sufficiency, true independence, declaration of independence that your parents declared upon you, that stayed with me to this 77.4 years of the American dream.
Well, we're getting into trouble because of technology and Ozempic and everything that's going to do the work that you should be doing. And people talk about stuff like all these weight loss drugs and injections. And I say, I don't like them. And then people go, why not? People want to lose weight. And I say, I'm not really approaching it from a physiological standpoint. I'm approaching it from a mental standpoint. I want you to have some discipline. I don't want you to take a shot and lose your discipline. So I want you to not eat that donut because you want that donut, but still don't eat that donut. I don't want you to not want the donut. You can numb yourself up. And it's sort of, the dishwasher was invented and the clothes washer was invented, and all these inventions made life easier. But at a certain point, we removed all the gravity and everyone's just kind of floating out there, losing their muscle mass. And that's what I'm kind of worried about. And that's why I do tell people, wash your own car, chop your own wood.
Yes.
Metaphorically, like just do not go to Grubhub and have people bring food to your house. Make your own food. And people say, why do you have to do that? Or you have enough money to avoid that. And it's like, that's part of remaining sane.
Well, Adam Carolla, you got the Nugent family here in this studio with my buddies, my guitar buddies, my sound buddies, my hunting buddies, and all I can say is, duh. I mean, hello, these are the conversations we have all the time. I think the key takeaway from your statement there is discipline. My parents forced discipline upon me. If I didn't paint the fence properly, my dad made me do it over again. But you're talking about the joys and the fulfilling gratification of self-sustenance. And as a hunter, I mean, I got to be optimally aware of my surroundings to get close enough to a deer for real food. And you're talking the Nugent family language, but not just the Nugent family and the Carolla clan. It's my band. my friends, my neighbors. I guide hunters from all around the world every year since 1979. And they come and share a Ted Nugent campfire because I'm so much damn fun. But ultimately, these are the conversations that we have, and these are people from usually urban environments that get turned on and stimulated by gathering firewood, learning how to start a fire, how to turn a fish into food, how to identify the actual sources of our quality of life, which are air, soil, and water quality, which can only come from wildlife habitat, which is the battle cry of the hunting, fishing, trapping, conservation, ranching, farming, landowner community. So I know we could go back and forth. You use the term grounded. My sons and my daughters, my wife Shemaine, who's here, talking about effervescence, the ultimate compliment, and I know you get it, and it's referenced to Adam Carolla all the time, but I hear it all the time because I'm always out and about on the not-so-mean streets of America. And they say, I met your son the other day. He's really down to earth. I met your daughter last year. She's really grounded. She's really sensible. It's alive and well. Media will tell you it's not. Hollywood would tell you it's toxic. The government will tell you it's unnecessary. But when you supply your own quality of life, hands-on, down-to-earth, grounded, boots on the ground, you go to bed with a shit-eating grin on your face going, you know, I can take care of business. And my beautiful, dangerous, little petite wife, Shemaine, she hunts with a bow and arrow, and she provides us the ultimate diet, which is the only clean food left, and that's wild game. So you're talking my language, I'm talking your language, but it's not just us in this studio on microphones. I bet you your audience listening are nodding their heads going, yeah, no shit. Yeah, you think?
Yeah,
duh. So it's alive and well. It's alive and well.
Yeah, people sort of yearn for pragmatism.
Yes.
And what makes sense. Yep. And for you, still touring, by the way, still playing. I mean, I was looking at your bio when I was driving here, and it said started 1963 to present, which is kind of a crazy amount.
Is that what it said? Because I actually started in 1957 at the Michigan State Fairgrounds, but I'll give you an extra 5 years.
How did this all begin? So the only job you've ever had, I mean, professional is show business, is music, rock and roll, is music. Did you teach yourself to play the guitar?
Well, Joe Podorczyk at the Capitol School of Music on Grand River, a fill-in for James Jamerson and Bob Babbitt, the gods of the Motown Funk Brothers. But he was a fill-in bass player. Joe Podorczyk, he just passed away a couple years ago. When we first played the Michigan State Fairgrounds, playing Honky Tonk and Boogie Woogie, which I'm going to play for you on this acoustic guitar because it's the foundation of all the moving, inspiring, rhythmical, driving, uppity music of our black founding fathers. But I was there, and if you ask this question to Billy Joel or Steven Tyler or Sammy Hagar or any great authoritative soulful musical forces, they'll tell you Elvis Presley on Ed Sullivan. We already were moved by this new Chuck Berry invention, this new electric guitar by Les Paul, because I was born in 48, and he had just electrified the guitar. Instead of being a background folky strummer, it became a driving rhythmical force that identified our favorite music. Our favorite music starts with a killer guitar lick, except when Little Richard comes in, his left hand on the piano covers them everything. But the point is that I was so turned on by this defiant, uppity, really out of the ordinary, unprecedented anti-Frank Sinatra, anti-Rat Pack music that had so much more velocity and energy that all of us were completely engrossed and stimulated by it. So a lot of us decided if we didn't want to just listen to it, I want to do that. So I started playing the guitar when I was like 6 years old, and I took lessons, but then my guitar teacher, Joe Podorczyk, showed me the stuff that I really wanted to hear, not the traditional music lessons.
So you're in Motown.
Yes.
You grew up in Michigan.
Yes.
How far out? In Detroit or how
in
far
Detroit.
out?
Yeah, 23251 Florence in Redford, which was Detroit 19, Michigan. My telephone number was Kenwood 12345. I was born there in 1948.
Wow.
Right next to the Rouge River in Detroit proper, in Detroit, the Rouge River. So I had the electronic inspiration of this new uppity rock and roll music, blues and gospel and rhythm and blues gone electric. But I also had the Rouge River, and as Chuck Berry influenced me, and my dad coming out of World War II in Korea, he was already a bow hunter, and it was a wildlife paradise right across Hazleton, right across the street from my house. So the bow hunting and wildlife played an equal powerful role, which is why I think my music is more aboriginal, more down to earth, more wilderness oriented. So yeah, it all started the minute I could pay attention to the music on the radio. That my dad wouldn't turn it off, by the way.
I think the Rouge is where Ford built the big bomber plants.
Yes, that Ypsilanti. Shemay, what's the name of the airport in Ypsilanti? Willow Run Airport, where they built all the B-50s. Yes, I know. I deer hunt at Willow Run Airport this last year.
Really? Yeah. You know, I sort of tell people this because I find it interesting, and I don't know if this will resonate with you, but Ford was a pretty famous anti-Semite, and also he had Lindbergh as his test pilot, who was also an anti-Semite.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, well, Ford used to put anti-Semitic newsletters out at the dealers and stuff like that. Oh yeah, eventually the dealers were like, "Hey, could you not pull those off the truck? We got some Jewish buyers who may be interested in an F-150, probably an F-100 back then." But here's my point. Ford, it has been accused of being an anti-Semite historically, and so did Charles Lindbergh.
Wow.
But Ford built those bombers, and Lindbergh tested those bombers, and then they liberated Europe with those bombers.
Yep.
And when they liberated Europe, they liberated most of the camps where the Jews were being exterminated. So I tell people all the time, it's easy to go, that guy's this and that guy's that, but what has he done for you lately? And I'm sure anyone in that camp would not care if the guys who are liberating them were anti-Semitic or not. They were being liberated. And we do way too much labeling, and this guy's a mean guy, or this guy's a misogynist, or this guy's a racist, or this. We hang labels on everyone, and then we want to throw them out. My thing is, like, where's the rubber meet the road? What did they do? Lindbergh risked his life testing those bombers. Ford, of course, built those bombers, and we won the European campaign with those bombers. So, you know, they can be both.
Well, identity politics does not even enter my life. I mean, I just want to know, can my plumber plumb without a leak? I just want to know who my pilot is. I don't care any of his personal habits. I want to know his flying record, because the most important thing in the world is my life. I thought I'd mention that, and Mrs. Nugent agrees. Isn't that fascinating that you brought that up, and I had no idea, because toxic politics, hate, bigotry, racism, identity politics. It's like I have a golden dome that rejects such counterproductive thought processes. I mean, I just don't give a rat's ass about any of that.
At the end of the day, it's not pragmatic. And if you're a super pragmatic person, then you should not really care what color anyone is, or what religion, or what their sexual proclivities are. You just want to hire the best mayor, or elect the best mayor, the best electrician, the best plumber, the best governor. You just want the best. I mean, it's a very pragmatic thought. The ones where you start figuring in people's gender and their race, those aren't pragmatic thoughts. You might not end up with the best pilot. You just want the best plumber and the best pilot. I was thinking about you, and maybe talking about you, I think last week, because somebody brought up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, is that what that is?
And they just keep letting artists in there that have nothing to do with rock and roll, and also ones that frankly don't have the track record people like you have. Now, speaking of identity politics, I think someone like Joan Jett is only in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because she's a female and because she's a lesbian. I think if you remove that, then you just have someone who played two crappy cover songs for hits, and that's the reason she's in there. As a matter of fact, there's no other logical reason she's in there, but if it's just merit, then Ted Nugent is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Joan Jett isn't. But Ted Nugent is essentially rock and roll. Like, you are the poster child for rock and roll. So for you not to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame can only be about politics.
I know you like shocks in life. I'm going to shock you because I think Joan Jett should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just because of her music, but not yet, because you have to get Styx in first. You have to get Night Ranger in first. You have to get, what's the Canadian band that's Phil X is playing with?
All right.
Triumph should be. I can name 100
Wait a minute. Is UFO in?
No, exactly.
Well, if
That's
UFO is
my point.
not in, Joan, you got to clear out.
Joan,
make room
later.
for UFO.
And I never forget, somebody brought up during an interview, they said, we saw the Rolling Stone list of top 100 guitar players, Ted, and what do you think that Joan Jett is in there? And I go, it's on tape. I said, I love Joan Jett. She's a garage band, dirty, nasty, uppity. She's my favorite lesbian, and some of my greatest memories include lesbians. The point is that she's not in the top 100 guitar player list because I've got 100 guitar players that are really virtuosos and adventurous and
right.
creative.
But Rolling Stone has to.
That's
Rolling
why.
Stone, all right. First
That's
off,
why.
those pussies. I'll tell you,
they have
every
no soul.
band. They have the same bands they have to love. They have to love Lou Reed.
Yes.
Fucking Lou Reed sucks. But they're also bought and paid for, those pussies over at the Rolling Stones. I know exactly who they love. They all love the Beastie Boys. They all love Lou Reed. They all love Velvet Underground. No one will say anything about Joan Jett. They're all bought and paid for. And they're cowards, by the way. And yes, when Joan Jett cracks the top 25 guitar players of all time, then the list is corrupted. And by the way, it's not even a slight against Joan Jett. She's just not good enough to be there. And I Love Rock and Roll sucks. And Crimson and Clover's another crap remake. I mean, she remade 2 shit songs and got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So Ted Nugent should be there only, but then there's politics. And they don't like your politics, but I don't even know if they know your politics. I mean, you hunt, so that's a strike, and you get your own food instead of doing the factory farmer thing. But I guess it's voting for a Republican. I don't know. It's a weird set of rules. You open up,
all
essentially,
of which I break, by the way.
Yes, you open up. You essentially say, "I'd like to open a museum," and you go, "Well, who's going to be in the museum? Who's going to be featured in the museums?" And you go, "The greatest painters of all time are going to be featured in this museum." And then you go, "Oh, okay." And then you have a crappy painter in your museum, and that's Joan Jett. You go, "Why is her shitty art hanging in here?" And you go, "Wait a minute, Ted Nugent, that guy's a great painter." No, we're not letting him in the museum. Well, then what? Why did you start a museum?
But you know, as you look across at me here, Adam, I can't hardly speak because I'm laughing so hard. It doesn't affect me at all, except I like honesty. I'm a big fan of honesty, and it's all so dishonest. But I'm having the greatest musical year of my life. My New Year's Eve show, we played in Ardmore last week with these incredible virtuosos, Phil X, Jared James Nichols, and a young black kid from Connecticut named Amani. My band, Jason Hartless and Johnny Big. We played music that God hasn't even authorized yet. We did stuff that Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard are rolling over their graves going, "Damn it, I wish I would have done that." So I'm so inspired by the energy, the piss and the vinegar, the music loving of the audiences every night. And no, I'm not selling out stadiums. We had like a couple thousand people here and there. But I come home with a bag of money and a buddy with a jet to sleep with my wife and my dogs. Am I missing something here?
No.
It's about the music. I'm literally living my dream with the Lourdes in 1960, playing the VFW on Grand River in Detroit. It's raw, it's primal, it's energetic. We're still exploring the guitar neck. We're still exploring rhythms. We're still exploring chord mutilations and raw, primal, aboriginal musical orgies every night. So I don't need no Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if you go on social media and check out the testimonials from people, or if you followed me here and had the motorcycle guy stop me at John's Museum and thank me for the music, thank me for standing up for the Second Amendment, thank me for standing up for accountability from my elected employees. I am having the time of my life. Not only is 2026 going to be the best year in my life, but it's going to be the worst for my energy, my enemies. And I'm not going to put any energy into pissing off my enemies. Just by having a good life, it drives them batty. What a dream.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but you know, it hurts the integrity of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it brings things into question. And I don't know why iconic brands, whether it be the Oscars or the Grammys or the Emmys or Harvard, want to destroy their brand.
It's unbelievable.
When I was younger, and I don't even have to say younger, I just mean you go back 10 years, if somebody went to Harvard or Yale or Cornell or Stanford, that meant something. Like I could remember, when we would look at bios when we were hiring writers for the Man Show, it's this guy went to Harvard, oh.
That was still a positive back then?
That was back then. If I see that now, I'm like, I don't want this pussy anywhere near this production.
Exactly right.
This guy's his brain has probably been scrambled over there. I don't want any of that. I want a guy who worked at a logging camp or was in the military or
you're talking.
played some AAA baseball in some town you never heard of. Like, I want some discipline. But what I'm saying is Oscars, they do the best picture every year and nobody cares because they destroyed their brand.
Yep.
Nobody watches,
Yep.
And all these institutions that were Tiffany institutions, Harvard, that meant something. The Oscars, you won a Grammy. That was a big deal. Now it's all politics and who cares. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame did that to themselves. I believe the reason sports grows while everything else retracts. If you look at the numbers for the Super Bowl versus the numbers for the Oscars, in 1975, they're probably about the same audience. Now you get 100 million for the Super Bowl and nothing for the Oscars. We want a meritocracy. We watch the U.S. hockey team win a gold medal, and it was 25 white guys. And I didn't hear one person say, how come there's no representation? There's no Hispanic. There's no Asian representation. No, it's just 25 white guys. And everyone went, okay, I guess those are the best we could put on the ice. And nobody said a word because it's a complete. Now, you do something with the Oscars or the Emmys and you have 25 white guys nominated and nothing, they're going to shut you down.
They'll never let it happen.
They wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah.
So now why are we so attracted to the Super Bowl? Because it's a meritocracy. Yeah. You go to the USA hockey team, it's 25 white guys. You go back to the Super Bowl, you got 11 black guys on the defensive side of the ball. No one blinks. We just assume those are the best for that job.
I think they are.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, here's the reality. There may be some Jewish defensive back sitting on the bench who never gets on the field.
Maybe.
Who might be better. Or an Asian punt returner who might be better.
They'd find him.
There might be, but the coach believes these are the 11 best. And the coach, when they're making the selection for the U.S. men's hockey team, those are the 25 best chances we have of bringing home gold. And once we sign off on that, that's the best. But so many systems, Harvard, Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, they've all been corrupted, right? And so now we wonder, is that the best? And so when you see the poor 19-year-old black guy walking across the quad in Harvard, you think, is he here?
Yeah.
Because he's a smart. Now, that's unfair to him.
Heartbreaking.
Because he may have had a higher SAT score than anybody you know. But we question it. And that's what they've done. They've made us question it.
You're touching a lot of points there. And again, ditto. Common sense turns me on. But I always say when I talk to people, I do interviews, I probably have done more interviews than anybody that ever walked the earth because I'm different. I'm an anomaly. I kill my own food. I train with the military. I've been a cop for 41 years. I only hire the best of the best. I only surround myself with the best of the best. And in my world of music, that meritocracy is runaway controllable. It literally, nobody's going to hire anybody except the best drummer, the best bass player, the best singer, and not just the best in the normal assumption of what is the best, but the most soulful. You might not have a beautiful voice, me for example, but soulful. The forehead veins are popping like Mitch Ryder and Jerry Lee Lewis every song. So that being the best that you can be, that demand and that pursuit and accomplishment of absolute martial arts excellence is alive and well. And I suspect Bobby, look at Bobby over there. He's like a martial arts technician helping us get this podcast and this interview across. And equipment that actually works. So you surround yourself with the best of the best, and nobody gives a damn whether he's gay. I don't care.
I don't care.
The bottom, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
It comes on to me, then it becomes an issue. But during the daylight hours, Bobby, he's just fine as long as he doesn't pick up the bottle.
See, Bobby, you owe me a residual because you just used the middle finger, and I have a patent on that. I didn't invent it, but I perfected it. But the point is, Adam, I always say, and I can express myself unambiguously. Nobody's ever heard Ted Nugent talk and go, geez, I wonder what he meant. I never went to college. I was too busy learning stuff. And I didn't know what the word entrepreneur meant. I still have difficulty spelling it. But I knew that I had to get the band to be tighter than all the other bands in Detroit, which was almost impossible because the bands in Detroit were just monster, soulful. Mitch Ryan, the Detroit Wheels, the Motown Funk Brothers, the Bob Seger and the Last Herd, Brownsville Station.
Brownsville Station was Smoking in the Boys?
Yes. Michael Lutz was my bass player, Cub Coda guitar player. These guys were animals on stage, but they were not just entertaining, but they wanted to be. We approach every song, every lick, every night like we're auditioning for James Brown's band. Are you aware? You got to be. If you're not aware of this, you're going to thank me for making you aware of this. Of the Buddy Rich bus tape.
Yes.
Yes, it's a beautiful moment.
I love it.
That's how I operate my band. I go, if you don't play this perfect tonight, we're going to go Buddy Rich in the bus, and I'm going to start punching, throwing stuff at people. So that demand and accomplishment, if I may, of absolute martial arts, James Brown, Wilson Pickett, Motown Funk Brothers, the grind of Elvis's band, the tightness, that excellence is alive and well.
Well, okay, so the famous Buddy Rich bus.
I love that guy.
He just chewed out everybody.
Oh, he's screaming like a madman.
He made me look
genteel.
And he told guys he'd send them home.
You motherfucker! He was awesome.
Yeah, he was great. It is kind of interesting because when they play those tapes of guys, whether they're football coaches or band leaders yelling at people, everyone else goes, "Can you believe?" And I'm like, "I got a boner." Are you kidding me? I love this shit.
I love when people
I wish more people do this shit. We wouldn't have so many fuck ups wandering around. We need a little more Buddy Rich in our lives.
That's the story of my life. But I'm such a diplomat. First of all my musicians are the best ever. From the Royal High Boys in 1957 to the Lourdes in 1960. I keep in touch with Tom Noel, my drummer from 1960. We opened up for Billy Lee and the Rivieras and the new band from Detroit, Martha and the Vandellas. Gene Pitney had the #1 song, A Town Without Pity. Walled Lake Casino. Yeah. I'm watching these guys, and I'm watching the band behind Martha and Vandellas.
Well, what do you think? I'll start then. Because you're a Motown guy and come from that region and that era.
Full on.
I think probably the best pop song ever written was Tears of a Clown by Smokey Robinson because it has like a piccolo in it. It's got like an oboe in it. It's Adam, so wonderfully arranged.
You ready?
Yes.
I heard the original 4-track recording of that, each individual track from Motown. Barry Gordy and the team. I heard it, and the way the Funk Brothers bass drum and snare sounded, that's the holy grail to this day. And what year was that? 61?
A little later, I would say.
In the 60s, on the radio.
In the 60s, yes.
And the technology today has actually taken away from that raw, noisy, earthy, smoky club sound. But that's what we aspire to. That's why my music is so impactful.
It needs, if you look at photographs of boxing matches, prize fights from the 40s and the 50s. They were black and white, and everyone in the front row smoked cigars.
Yes.
So you'd see this kind of haze.
Yes.
And it'd be black and white, and they're so iconic, and they look so much better than the digital 4K non-smoking high-def ones, and part of it's a little counterintuitive. You go, well, the cameras are so much better now and the lighting's so much better now, and it's like, yeah, but you're missing it.
No,
you're missing what they had back then.
Don't want clarity. We want atmosphere. I was talking about Baker's Keyboard Lounge over on DeQuinder Avenue in Detroit, where the Funk Brothers would go after the recording sessions. They were paid studio musicians, union guys. They'd go to Baker's Keyboard Lounge and just jam and play. And Robert White Power, Robert White, the guitar player at Motown Funk Brothers that created. I got sunshine. on a cloudy day.
You play a lick, and let me see if I can tell you that I'll sing the first lyric.
But talking about inspiration, so they go to the Baker's Keyboard Lounge and just jam, and that's where all these patterns and song progressions came from, that because it was smoky and they were drinking and they were laughing and it was casual.
It was like
that's how
peanut shells on the floor.
Yes, that's how my rehearsals are. It's so easy going. It's disciplined because we hump the music spirit, and the music spirit of our most powerful influences are the James Brown tightness, the Chuck Berry uppity energy, Little Richard defiance and irreverence, and the Motown authoritative music. And I'm 77 years old, and I accomplished that. God have mercy on my soul. Every song, every night, my band is so tuned in that we would qualify to play Baker's Keyboard Lounge with the Funk Brothers in 1960. That's how authentic my music remains to this day.
I think, comedians are all kind of secretly jealous.
I'm a comedian.
Of musicians. Yeah, no, you are, but you get paid to play. And everyone, because if you don't play Stranglehold or Cat Scratch Fever, you'll be in trouble.
How about that lick?
That's a great lick. I can hear the drums coming too.
What a great... I got goosebumps, Adam.
Yeah, and the drums, when they kick in, did that move that they don't do it. They don't do that move anymore. That's a very 70s, right when it kicks in, right when the drums kick in.
My guys do. My guys.
Yes.
Jason Hartless and John Kutch, they play it absolutely. That was Cliff Davies. God rest his soul. He was a drummer for a jazz band in England called If, and I taught him how to be a funk brother, and we became soulmates and blood brothers and funk brothers and shit kickers of real soul music. I'm telling, what a great
What do you
band.
think? What do you think? I wrote down on the way here some of my favorite licks.
There's so many.
There's so many, and
there's so many of mine.
Stranglehold is definitely one.
Number
of them.
one. Number
one.
You ever seen the movie Invincible? The way they use that in this movie Invincible?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
All right, here's what I wrote down.
Want me to play them? I'll grab this guitar.
I wrote down Paranoid.
Yeah, I don't know Paranoid, but
all right.
Yeah, that's a killer lick. That's Black Sabbath, right?
That's Ozzy.
Yeah.
I wrote down Burn by Deep Purple.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I wrote, here's a weird one. Remember Hocus Pocus by Focus?
Absolutely.
Now,
great guitar tone.
You got to yodel to do that song.
That's right.
And I also know you love cars, you love racing cars, you love off-road racing. You said you did the Mint 400 a few times.
I off-road raced here today.
You did you say you did Pikes Peak?
I won Pikes Peak, in a Class 1 buggy, unlimited horsepower single-seater.
When it was dirt or asphalt?
It was a closed course. With Iron Man.
Oh, it wasn't the Pikes Peak hill climb.
No, it wasn't the hill climb. No, it wasn't the race.
It was a race. Ever do the 500 or the 1000?
You ready? You see, I've got a lot of piss and vinegar, right? You like my piss and vinegar.
I do.
You like my energy. You love my attitude.
Yeah.
You know where this comes from?
Gatorade should come out with a new flavor called Ted Nugent's piss and vinegar flavor.
Piss and vinegar. That's the story of my life. So anyhow, the reason I'm like this.
But you got to shake it before you drink it. Because you don't want to get the piss and the vinegar. They separate.
In two separate, like
put them together like epoxy.
And they'd be really thick and gooey. But anyhow, my point is the reason I'm like this. Mm-hmm. The reason you might be attracted to some of my middle finger glory. I did the Indy 500 track with Parnelli Jones in a Roush Mustang. I thought I had a substantial scrotum at the time. Mm-hmm. I don't have a scrotum compared to Parnelli Jones in a Roush Mustang around the Indy track. We went 200 miles an hour, and I about shit my pants. He had balls of a T-Rex, and he blessed me with that experience. What an experience.
Parnelli Jones, legendary race car driver. I passed very recently. I've interviewed him before.
I keep in touch with his son.
Roush, Detroit guy.
Yes, I got Roush engines in 2 of my Broncos.
Yeah, they make... Well, they kind of do everything, but they make engines for aftermarket and Ford and that kind of stuff. Roush is a super interesting guy.
Yeah, I can tell you some interesting things.
American.
At Marathon gas stations, every stop is the start of fun, like the awesome fuel savings you're going to get with Marathon Rewards. Join Marathon Rewards today and start earning rewards on every gallon of gas. You can redeem rewards at any time, saving up to $1 per gallon. Well, that adds up. And don't forget, Marathon stations are packed with all the conveniences you need to stock up on, to live life on the go. Marathon, where the fun runs on full. Available at participating Marathon locations. Terms and conditions apply. See marathonrewards.com for details. Shopify. Well, I just launched my merch store on Shopify, and it was stupid easy. Starting a store used to be terrifying. Well, what if no one buys? What if it looks like crap? Shopify made it a no-brainer. They power millions of businesses, 10% of U.S. e-commerce, hundreds of templates to build stores and stuff that matches your brand, stores that'll match your brand, AI tools, write descriptions, and fix photos, run email and social campaigns like a pro. Everything is in one place: inventory, payments, analytics. We set ours up in minutes, and you can too. Right, Dawson?
It's time to turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Carolla. Go to shopify.com/Carolla. That's shopify.com/Carolla.
But you did the Toyota Grand Prix several times.
Yes.
It was a thrill. I've done it 5 times, so I loved every second of it.
I don't want to dominate this interview, but you got to hear this story, and I'll try to keep it to the short story version.
Well, if we can coax you out of your shell just for one story.
But this is why I'm like this. I was invited to do it. I did it a couple times, and I won a couple times. And then they invited me again against Gene Hackman and Bruce Jenner. I take part of the responsibility for his altercation. The point is, I'm against some really talented super guys that are way more capable than me.
I will say quickly, celebrities are bad at politics, but there's a lot of them that are good at driving.
Rockford, what's his name?
James.
Him, the Rockford. I do Rockfords in the parking lot all the time in rent-a-cars. The point is, so I'm invited, and
Gene Hackman can drive.
Yes.
Bruce Jenner.
Yes.
Could drive.
I beat him.
Yes, these guys can drive.
Yeah, but they're not from Detroit, so right. I was cheating. So I in the Toyota. It's a Toyota Corona, whatever that's called, a turbocharged. It's a real performance. I got the roll cage. I got the whole suit on and everything. And so we're doing the qualifying laps, and I didn't know that in a celebrity race, if you are the fastest, you don't get the pole position, you get put to the back. So I gave it all I got, and Parnelli and Mickey Thompson walked the course, and they said, here's your apex, here's you want to take the high bank here, here's where if somebody's in your way, you get them out of the way. So I gave it all I got, and I had the fastest qualifying time. So they put me in the back, number 14 in the gaggle. I said, well, that's not fair. If I'd have known that, I'd have done what Gene Hackman did and gone slower. So anyhow, I'm in the back. You're going to I know you love me now, but you're about to love me even more. This is awesome. This is where God comes into my life again. So I'm in number 14.
What year is this?
This is 79, 80 maybe 81. I don't know. So I'm in the back, and we're coming around for the parade lap to show everybody the 2 side-by-side cars, and 14 of us, and we're coming to the straightaway in front of the grandstands. I'm watching this Playboy bunny up there. I'm watching the Playboy bunny. She's got the flag. She's going to do the green flag and give us the go-ahead. So Parnelli showed me how to gas and accelerate a turbo engine so you get maximum torque in the gear you're in. I'm in second gear coming to the parade lap, and I see the Playboy bunny her arm starts to flex. I can see her because I'm a deer hunter, so I can see her bicep from 100 yards away, and I can see where she's going to lift the flag. And as soon as her arm moved, I torqued that Toyota and got on it. And as she's coming up the flag, I'm already going. But that's legal because she's moving the flag, right? It's legal.
Okay.
You have to wait for the
but
downstroke.
All right, let me just coach everyone up real quick on a rolling start.
Yes,
You know, because F1 does a standing start. Right? And
I've done that.
We've all done it. The rolling start is everyone queues up. One on the right, one on the left. Usually the person on the pole is going to be to the inside of the first turn. So if it turns
all the advantage
left
in the world.
Yeah, if you set the pole, then you'll be on pole position, and that'll be on the best side of the track, and you'll go 2 by 2, and the people in the front will set the pace. Not too fast.
I had not heard that, but go ahead.
And they set the pace. And then if one of them takes off, they'll start the race again. They'll black flag it, and then you look for the green flag to drop off in the distance.
Do you have to wait for it to drop, or can you get it when it's lifted?
You should wait for it to drop, but that person is waiting for everyone to queue up to make sure everyone's around the corner. But I've jumped a few too, where it just you see them inhale and you just go.
It's a green flag.
You know what? I'll tell you what's the equivalent to. When I used to play football, you could block a punt because the punter would be looking at the long snapper, and you'd see the punter. They wouldn't have a count. His hands would just go like that. And when you saw his hands move, that's enough.
Yes.
You go. Now, no one else goes because they can't see him.
But
you can see him. Watch the hands.
Yeah, so I'm watching the Playboy Bunny's hands, and that flag is just starting to come up, and I torque that Toyota super turbocharged thing, and I'm ready to launch. Well, I got 12 cars in front of me, right?
Right.
And we're going in front of the grandstands. Of course, I'm the Motor City Madman.
Drive.
So people expect me to be the Motor City Madman, but I don't expect me to be the Motor City Madman because I'm not the Motor City Madman. Though I am the Motor City Madman, I'm also a very thoughtful, pragmatic, down-to-earth, disciplined Motor City Madman. So I got that Toyota all torqued up, and her hands going up, and I'm already going down the middle of the pack. And by the first curve, Adam Carolla, I had gone past every car, and I was the first car in front of all 13 others going into the first curve, and I took off everybody's door handles and mirrors to get there. It was awesome, and I won that race.
And you won it.
There's footage of it. I mean, but I was started in last, and by the first turn, right-hand sweeper, I was already the first car because I saw that pretty little hand coming up with the green flag, and I'm like, well, that's my cue. They were pissed off.
Make a lot of contact.
Did we lose something there? Get Adam back on. Gene Hackman threatened to beat me up afterwards.
Oh, really? Well, he'll be missed.
What a great actor. I love that guy. I had no animosity, but I was here to win. Parnelli said, you're here to win.
Yeah.
You need to win.
Parnelli, he passed recently as well. And Parnelli, those guys raced cars when it was super dangerous to race cars.
No technology advantages whatsoever.
Well, not only that, I've been to Reno to a car museum to see Dan Gurney's Porsche. It's the only Porsche F1 car they entered. It's a Porsche built an F1 car in like 1965. Dan Gurney is 6'4".
They had to make it special. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, they did the Gurney bubble on the GT40, but the whole point is when you sit down in this car, on the right is a fuel tank, and on the left is a fuel tank, and it's molded so Dan Gurney could sit in the middle of a fuel tank with no bladder and no safety anything, just an aluminum fuel tank that was carved out for Dan Gurney's ass to sit in between 40 gallons of race fuel. And he's 6'4". His head hung out of that car 2 feet, and the roll bar, which was a foot below his head, was so flimsy that when we were pushing it out into the parking lot, the guy who owned the car said, don't push it by the roll bar bend.
Unbelievable.
So that's what those guys did. They essentially risked their lives. By the way, that was part of the sport. Part of the sport was you are risking your life to do this.
Well, the most important promotional footage for all racing is the crashes. Right. But I'm glad, Adam Carolla, you just brought a great scenario to my attention here. But I would offer the metaphor that God has created my American dream car with a gas tank on the left and a gas tank on the right with a flimsy roll cage, and I just floor it anyway.
Yeah,
that's my life.
That's what you want to do.
My life is a dangerous vehicle that I drive very fast, but smart. I drive it smart.
Well, you're still here.
My presence today.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, look, if you're going to handle firearms like you do, and all sorts of dangerous things that cut and kill, you have to be responsible. That's part of it.
I've been clean and sober my whole life because to get close to a deer with a sharp stick is the ultimate challenge available to man. I really believe that. It's kind of overwhelming claim, but if I don't pay attention to my conduct, how I place my foot, how I read the wind, how I read the sun, how I train with the hand-eye coordination, spirit, breathing, lungs, coordination of the mystical flight of the arrow, somebody's going to have to buy chicken for me, and that's never happened. The point is that I apply that sense of aliveness to everything I do. And to aspire to that higher level of awareness, whether it's a chainsaw or rocking my grandchild to sleep or meeting the two little girls at the museum this morning and having a fun conversation with the parents, or doing an Adam Carolla interview, or playing the guitar and guiding my band, or driving fast, or tweaking my engines for maximum horsepower. I really believe that a higher level of awareness will bring you the only supreme happiness, real happiness, not fake happiness because of a high, an outside influence high. That's where I am in 2026, and for me to be able to claim gravity-defying reality, because it's gravity-defying that after 7,020 concerts, that last weekend was the best 2 hours of music in my life. That's just ridiculously unbelievable, but it's because we practice and we talk about the grooves and we talk about the movement, the dynamics, and the sound of the drums, going all the way back to that Motown 4-track. I remember the sounds. Drummer, that's not the sound. You have to have the drum. My drummers get the sound. My bass players get the sound. My Gibson Birdland, the tone I get is just intoxicating in the movement of the music, and that's just an example of how I approach everything in life. And as I witness Adam Carolla with the things that you do, obviously you seek the mountaintop in everything you do. You don't stop halfway up the mountain and go, this is high enough.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm
the greatest casual easy. I remember I spent 3 hours every afternoon in a tree, completely quiet. I don't move an inch. I'm waiting. So I'm the master at absolute flatlining calmness while still maintaining a high level of radar attentiveness. It's so intoxicating.
I get it. You have to have a sort of low resting pulse.
Yes.
And then you have to be able to sort of pounce, but you can't walk around.
Well stated. Yes, exactly.
Wound up all the time.
No.
Because, well, like the calmest people you'll ever meet are either race car drivers or MMA fighters.
Yes.
Because they're saving it. Their pulse rate is so low, because if they were wound up normally, then when they went to the arena to get in the cage, they would explode with anxiety.
Waste of energy.
Right. So they're all very sort of detuned, you know.
I've always said that my hero, Fred Bear, the world's greatest bow hunter, all my favorite bow hunting friends, that's why I have to be more attentive, because I'm not calm when I think about the things that stimulate me. I get real uppity, which helps the energy of the performance with the music. But when it comes to my bow hunting life, which is equally important and time-consuming and dedicated as my music, Fred Bear, if he did an interview with you and I, or with you, we'd still be on the hellos. I mean, these guys, the best bow hunters, the best fighters, the best race car drivers, they're kind of, when they carry on a conversation, they're kind of easygoing. And
have
you noticed that?
Oh, I'll tell you what I noticed. It makes me think of it. It's like, you ever hear flight recordings from airplanes that are having catastrophic failure.
Air disaster is my favorite.
And you hear the guy, she's like, yeah, we got a right wing on fire.
Yes.
We're not going to be able to make it back to LaGuardia.
Yes.
We're currently looking for rivers to ditch in.
Yes. I don't know. The guy, Sully on the Hudson River, his voice recording that day.
Right. So wound up people would be screaming, we're all going to die at the top of their lungs, which is not going to help.
I've been in situations like
you hear Sully. You're right. He had a bird strike. He lost both engines. No, they're not making it back to the airport. There's 157 souls on board. And he sounds like you woke him up from a nap.
Yes.
And he's
awesome.
He's explaining where his keys are so you can move his car. I think they're in the wooden bowl by the front door. I think if they're not there, they may be in the car. Yes. But that's what he sounds like. And
that's a real talent. And you may not believe it sitting across from me on this day in February or first day of March 2026, but I can actually attain that condition. I actually can get there. When we've had emergencies in life, I've had a number of them. I take control and I am really calm because I need to get this wounded guy in the back of the truck, and you need to quit screaming, and I need to get your shirt to wrap around the wound.
But that takes a lot of training, and then when you train a lot, then you can go into that execution mode versus we're all going to die.
I've done raids with the U.S. Marshals arresting murderers and stabbers and shooters and carjackers and people that our court system keeps letting out to do it again. And talking about adrenaline management. You're talking adrenaline management when you kick down that door.
Well, you were telling me off the air, I think you had a couple of John Belushi stories.
Yeah, so hard.
And I do love the old stories from the old days. And you were around for all of it because you were a fixture early and often. And you saw, I mean, you had hits before SNL even came on the air.
Sure, yeah.
And so you got to hobnob with a lot of these people and see them. But I didn't know what your Belushi story was.
Well, certainly we all genuflected at the genius of John and Dan, what they delivered, what they created, and what they performed. I mean, we're just in awe of these people. And I always want to meet as many as I can. And traveling 300 plus dates a year with the Amboy Dukes and then with the damn Yankees and in my band, I'm here, there, and everywhere. And like I was telling John at lunch today, I would go out after a concert in L.A. with Rodney Dangerfield, Robin Williams, Sam Kinison, and the Afro guy. What's my hero?
Richard Pryor.
Why did I not know that name just now? I'm hanging out with these guys, and Bruce Willis, who's a funny guy, and we'd go to Thai restaurants at 3 a.m, and they're all fascinated with the hardware on my belt, and we had jokes about it. You can imagine how much funny jokes those guys made about me carrying a gun and going out at 3 a.m. at a Thai restaurant. So I got to hang out with dream masters. The masters of the craft, Parnelli Jones and Fred Bear and Chuck Berry. I played bass for Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley. I got to meet the Motown heroes. I played with the Motown Funk Brothers at Cobo Hall in '64. My God. So my point is, I wanted to meet John Belushi. I did a sold-out concert 2 nights in Chicago, late 78. And they said, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd are filming a movie, the famous movie, Blues Brothers. And they bought a club, and they'd like to send a car and have you come by the club and jam. They got some of the Duck Dunn of the
Donald Duck Dunn,
the master. I go, I haven't jammed with him yet. And Steve Cropper, I said, yes, right after I get off stage, let's go.
Matt Guitar Murphy.
Yes, the gods of thunder, the gods of soul music, the masters, the tenors.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, that's awesome. So, and I could tell you this about my experience with Jimi Hendrix and Chuck Berry and Bon Scott and all the heroes. And so we pull up this club, and it's 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we go in, and it's real dingy and dark, and I'm okay with dingy and dark, but there's distant, my favorite music in the background, maybe some Motown, maybe some Chuck Berry music, and I go in, and it looks like an outtake from Scarface, the worst moment. There's John behind a desk with a pile of cocaine, and they were completely gone. and they couldn't form syllables. There was no, if they invited me down, you would think it would be about the music that we share a love for, or the excellence that we might share, or the entertainment.
Yeah, you thought you were going to jam,
or
with
maybe
them.
some Lenny Bruce stories or something. And once again, no can talk.
Right.
So I just fuck this. God damn it. So I turned around and left. And I don't know how long it was before he died, but the same story with Jimi Hendrix, same story with Bon Scott, same story with Keith Moon, all these incredible geniuses that thought getting high would benefit something. So that just fortified my militant anti-substance battle cry, because all these different experiences. I spent 2 nights with Keith Richards in New York City. My hero, this Chuck Berry baton handle. He's handing me the baton from Chuck Berry. And we couldn't talk. He couldn't talk.
He was too fucked up the whole time.
I said, God damn it, I'm with Keith Richards. He was hanging around me because he wanted to know all about my guns. Funny stories. But we're at Studio 54. I'm like repulsed by what I'm witnessing, but I'm with Keith Richards, so I can handle anything. But we couldn't talk. And the Stones' first albums had Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, and Motown songs on it. The first Stones, the first Beatles songs also. So that American soul music influence was an unbelievable connecting rod that I had with my hero, Keith Richards. We couldn't talk. But I tried. I stuck it out 2 nights in a row, but never got.
Because he was just so messed up.
So just a drooling, slobbering. And Keith, I love you. I worship the musical authority to this day, and I know he's in pretty good shape for being as old a man as he is. But you can imagine the letdown after letdown because of substance abuse, where there was no humanity. I wanted some humanity.
The thing about the drugs. And the drinking and everything else, but probably especially drugs. It takes down a lot of comedians and it takes down a lot of musicians. And nobody thinks you become a better roofer when you're high.
Exactly.
And nobody thinks you become a better plumber.
Well, I always say
high.
I don't want anybody high except my musicians and my comedians. but
the problem with drugs and comedians is a lot of people think, oh, I'll lose my creative ability, because it affects your brain. So nobody thinks you'll be better at boxing when you're high, and nobody thinks you'll be, again, a better plumber or electrician or framer.
Meaningful stuff.
When you're high. But people who write songs think, maybe I could write a better song if I was high. And so I think a lot of them fall prey to that, or at least they get a pass. Because if you pull over a long haul trucker and he's high, you go, hey man, get out of that truck. You can't do your job. Yep. But if you find a musician or comedian or a poet who's high, you think maybe that's how he does his job. Yeah.
And oftentimes it is. Oftentimes there's inspiration.
A lot of those guys wrote songs
Yes.
that we're aware of and that we love when they were pretty fucked up.
And I acknowledge it. And I was with Sam Kinison night after night after night, going upstairs at the Comedy Store, where it was like an outtake from Scarface again. And I go, you guys have got to be fucking kidding me. I mean, I suppose.
Didn't word get around that they didn't want to hang out with Ted Nugent?
Yes, eventually.
Blow? What a buzzkill. This guy's talking about bow hunting.
Yes.
I'm trying to get a freeze going.
But
here.
I took Sam and his brother, was it Bill? On a Ford Bronco ride through a forest that I planted. I had these thousands of acres in Michigan with these giant forests that I planted. And I'm driving in my Bronco, and I'm driving over some of the forest I planted just to inspire Sam to go wild, to show him what a real wild man looks like. And I don't know if you notice, as a comedian lover as you are, as a comedian as you are, there was a moment in Sam Kinison's career where his screams got a little more intense. That was after my Bronco ride, because I was taking down 6-year-old 12-foot trees with my Bronco and really pushing the envelope of life and death just to inspire Sam and his brother. But we became good friends, and he did clean up, and he married the girl from my Little Miss Dangerous video. They got married, and they were on their way to Las Vegas that night when he was hit head on by a drunk driver.
Yeah. So
it's like Stevie Ray Vaughan got clean and died in the helicopter, and I got to jam with Stevie. And he, by all accounts, he was a super soulful gentleman, kind, conscientious, fun-loving guy. And when they finally get clean and sober, these terrible accidents take place. So it was heartbreaking.
All right. Well, I was thinking about getting clean and sober before, but now, since I don't want to die on the road. Yeah, the thing that was crazy about the Sam Kinison thing is a guy hit him and killed him, a young kid. Yeah. And the kid wasn't very remorseful about it at all. Like, I remember he was like, shit happens. It was a weird take. It's weird when somebody takes somebody's life and is sort of casual about it afterwards.
Soulless, I consider that a soulless condition.
It is kind of a soulless thing. Yeah. So you were there, you saw them all, you were and you caught them after the show, when they were partying a lot as well. And you going down and jamming with the Blues Brothers and that all-star band they had behind them would have been awesome.
Yes.
Here's a deep cut, since you brought up all these guys and all these famous guys and these session guys. Nicky Hopkins.
Yes, the piano for the Stones. Yes.
The piano for everybody.
Yes.
The Who.
Yes.
Graham Parker played with.
By the way, the Amboy Dukes opened up for the Who at the Southfield High School in '69 in the gymnasium.
So you guys opened up for the Who, one of my favorite bands, in '69.
Yeah. At a high school.
At a high school. I love those stories.
And I got to meet the guys, and again, Keith was so out of it. And I ran into him off and on. He'd always
Keith Moon,
whiskey and all stuff, and they couldn't believe that I wanted to partake,
or didn't want to partake,
and I wouldn't partake, and I had to leave.
The thing about drums are so visceral that it's probably one of the few things you can do really fucked up.
Probably because it's violent. The best drumming is violent.
It's like, like you can fight and you can fuck and you can play the drums.
Yeah,
those are things you can do.
Well, a lot of these guys.
Drunk.
Look, I jammed with Eddie Van Halen, and he was always ripped. And God bless him. I love him. Thank you for enriching our lives with your genius music and your adventurous guitar magic. I love you people. But it would have been nice to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
And every time, here's an example, he was always completely fucked up and played like a miracle worker.
Really?
And Jimmy was stoned most of the time, but he was going into unprecedented sonic territory that was just mesmerizing to everybody, especially super music lovers.
Are we talking Kimmel or?
We're certainly not talking Jimmy Kimmel.
Hendrix.
That's a funny story unto itself. But Jimi Hendrix and all these other guys. So I'm a music fan before I'm a musician.
But I never really thought about the Ted Nugent conundrum.
Oh, it's a conundrum.
Being such a huge fan of these guys and having these guys being so fucked up all the time that after the concert you couldn't really sit down and talk to them. And I don't, I'll tell you, to the folks that aren't clean and sober or are, but I've experienced this by showing up to the party late, not metaphorically, like literally. Like what it is if you show up to a party at 8 and the party starts at 8 and everyone starts drinking at the same time, you're together at midnight. You're on about the same page. It's happened to me that I've had a show to do or something, and I showed up to the party after, and you get there at midnight, and everyone's fucked up, and you're not, and you look around and you go, I can't talk to these people. And so your entire career is basically the guy who showed up at the party at midnight after everyone had been drinking all night, and you're trying to communicate with them, and you can't.
As a genuine lover and admirer of their craft, and you can't even discuss it, which I think art and musicianship and creativity. My heroes are welders. I want to learn how to do that welding. I want to make a bridge that never falls. Plumbers, carpenters, woodworkers. I get all these beautiful gifts in the mail every day of these people that make these beautiful woodworking crafts, these statues and this burned artwork that they send them to me and thank me for my music and thank me for standing up for their belief system. And I'm in such awe of those talents. But the next step is to discuss the welding. I want to talk, and that's one person I can talk to about the welding because they're not fucked up, and the artist. But those that you can't talk to, you can't take it to the next desirable human level. I would like to have talked to Keith Richards about the Chuck Berry licks, which in that video, Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll, where Chuck and Keith had a big fight because Keith was playing Chuck's lick better than Chuck was. When I played bass for Chuck Berry, I knew his songs better than he did because he was so fucked by the industry that he had a real negative, jaded attitude towards everybody. And I think you can see that in that Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll, although they did bring it all together to perfection during the performance with Steve Jordan on drums and the incredible musicians. But that's a missing link in my life. That's why I like to hang out with clean and sober people, because they're all music lovers and they're all nature lovers. And they're all marksmen, and they're all craftsmen, and they're all dedicated entrepreneurs. I'd like to talk about Calvin's Music Store. I'd like to talk about the sound system that Chris takes care of. I'd like to talk to Shemaine about her Faith and Freedom, Real Americans. I'd like to talk to my friends about their American dream. And if you're stoned, you can't take it to that next level, which I think emphasizes the spirit of excellence. And if you can't talk about it, you settle for something less than excellent.
Yeah. Couple things. First off, Bo Diddley's funny because he has a hit song about him.
Yeah, it's awesome. By the way, that lick.
Ted Nugent. Bo Diddley. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, that's the foundation of all the best rhythms in the world.
So, also the greatest clip, maybe, other than Buddy Rich yelling at everyone on a bus, is John Lennon playing with his idol Chuck Berry and Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono,
you worthless bitch,
grabbing a microphone and just sounds like you backed over a macaw.
Sound like a coyote with his balls in a condominium.
They just turned her mic off.
Yeah, talk about disrespect and talk about stoned people destroying
that was a
art.
hate crime there, man.
That pissed me off. Nobody liked that.
But sorry, ultimately, it's John Lennon's fault. Because if my lady friend said, "Can I come up and squeal in the background while you spend time with your legend friend?" And this is a Make-A-Wish situation for John Lennon, he gets to play. I'd just be like, perhaps you'd be more comfortable in the green room, my dear. Have a seat. Well, they got a speaker there. You can hear what's going on.
That's another example why I hate substance abuse, because I believe it was the substance abuse at that moment that abandoned respect, common sense, a sense of decency. You're with Chuck Berry and you're going to let this wounded three-legged coyote squalor during this magic moment that Chuck Berry's jamming with you. I can think of a lot of rude shit. I can't think of anything more rude than that.
Yeah, neither could Chuck.
Yeah,
because when they show Chuck's face, he's like, "Who let this bitch in the building? And who gave her a microphone?"
We laugh, but it's not funny.
I think at some point the engineer just potted her all the way down, which is where she should have remained.
They certainly should have cut the damn cord. Yeah, there's a lot of those moments that fortify my absolute militant anger at people that aren't aspiring or performing to the best of their ability.
Well, I mean, in a weird way, she was DEI long before we had DEI.
Well, no, I'm not so sure of that.
Well, what I mean is she got pushed up to a position where she could take the stage with John Lennon, Chuck Berry, and some of the most legendary musicians on the planet, and she walked right out on stage with no ability, no training, no rehearsal, no 10,000 hours perfecting a craft and grabbed a microphone and started screaming
and nobody
into
stopped
it.
Her. Nobody stopped her.
And
I think it was much, I don't think it was much DEI as it was that's John Lennon's woman. You just can't mess with anything John Lennon. John Lennon
but what
ruled.
I'm saying DEI, not so much racially, but more like somebody decided she needed to be at the front of the line and nobody was going to say anything about it.
Yeah, I
she
bet
had no
you and
qualifications to
I
be
bet
there.
you and I, if we were around John Lennon, he could do anything he wanted to do. We wouldn't have interfered. I'll bet you, because we're in such awe of his musical enrichment that he blessed us with.
would have grabbed that guitar and gone full El Kabong on that bitch. It's an old
Certainly that would have
reference.
been righteous, but I think I would have even bent over at that point. Whatever you want, John. Go for it.
I like John Lennon.
I'd probably
I like
started
George
making-
Harrison's solo stuff more.
Yeah.
And I believe the song Imagine has done way more harm
I think
than
it's a
it's
piece
done
of shit.
good.
I think it's a stupid song.
It's a
I hate
stupid
the song.
song because if you think about Imagine and you think about the lyrics, imagine no borders and no
Yeah.
possessions and all. It's all the stuff the crazy left. And by the way, that's their anthem. They love that song because it's everything they believe in, which is nothing.
Well, if
no
I may,
borders, no heaven, no possessions.
Well, if I may offer the alternative, when those helicopters, little Black Hawks, were going into Venezuela last month, guess what song was playing in those earphones?
Oh,
Stranglehold. So
really?
Yes, absolutely. The military stories of the SEALs and the Army Rangers and Delta Force, how often they use my song Stranglehold when it's time to kick ass. That's why I'm like I am, because how much more confidence can a musician get when those superhumans reference one of your songs that you created in the moment of glory in their lives? I mean, when Chris Campbell's remains came back after the Chinook went down, the worst casualties in the Navy SEALs history, rescuing Marcus Luttrell, when his remains were coming back in a flag-draped coffin, his family contacted me through Marcus Luttrell, and they wanted me to play this masterpiece called Fred Bear. It was in his memorial. That's a... There I was, back in the wild again. Felt right at home, where I belong. And it goes on and on. It's a powerful piece of music that people have embraced more than Stranglehold.
I gotta say, when I was looking up your hits and Spotify and sort of in order of appearance,
Fred Bear's right up there.
Fred Bear's number 2.
Yes,
I was surprised.
But anyhow, they wanted me to
Wango Tango, or you can yank me, or you can crank me,
yes,
but
don't wake
up
me up to
and
thank
don't
me.
thank me.
Yeah, what a love song! I am the master of love songs. I've come to
You
that
should be
conclusion.
doing greeting cards. Forget about rock music.
Adam, I know you know music. I know you know comedy. Two very important things in life: horsepower. Can you imagine someone who's had more fun with not just a musical career, but any career than I have? I defy you to come up with a name of anybody that has more fun with his chosen path in life than I have. And I attribute a lot of that, not just to dedication, work ethic, defiance, middle finger glory, but clean and sober, because everything works really good. The brain knows what Mr. Soul is doing. Mr. Soul knows what Mr. Heart is doing. And it all comes out, whether it's a mystical flight of the air or giving little girls guitar picks or playing a song about a dead guy named Fred Bear that a Navy SEAL wants to play at his memorial. I could go on. But I'm old. I'm 77. Today I kind of look like a homeless guy. But underneath his beard is a really handsome young man. The point is, it's 2026. How can I look you in the eye and 100% honestly tell you I'm having more fun than ever?
Well,
Priorities.
Having that as a mantra is pretty powerful as well.
Yes.
I talk to people all the time and they just go, I think I'm not feeling like because I ate some red meat and I feel like I may be allergic to pollen. I think there's something going on. And I always tell people, stop telling me what's wrong with you all the time. You ate dairy.
Shut the
You ate
fuck
some
up.
wheat. You ate something. There's something going on. Is there mold in this building? Because I feel tired. Stop telling me how you feel tired and how you don't
And I do feel
right.
tired often because I run wild all fucking day long.
But I mean, just sort of, I guess what I mean is look, part of life is physical, but there's another mental part, you know?
Huge mental and spiritual
And
side.
I've found that people try to talk you out of feeling good a lot of the time. And maybe this is a little cathartic, but my mom was that way, you know, like I'd go, I'm doing Letterman next week, and she'd go, a lot of stress, very stressful. Very stressful. And I'd go, what do you mean? I get to do Letterman.
That's
yeah,
right.
but that has
It's
to
all
be
positive.
That
It's all
has to be
wonderful.
stressful. And I'm like, no. It's good. It's a good. I get to do this.
All
like
attitude.
I've had people all the time. They go, oh, we have to go to this movie premiere. I go, you get to go to the movie premiere.
Shut the fuck yeah.
All right, Ted, let me give you a plug, by the way, before...
Yeah, there's so much going on.
There's
Go
so
to
much going on.
tednugent.com and see my vapor trail of fun and outrage and defiance and middle finger. I had a bumper crop of middle fingers this year.
Yes.
So people should check that out.
Yes. Go to, and is that the best way to do it? I know you got gigs coming up, but tednugent.com.
Yeah, we're
will do it.
transitioning that. The only transition I authorize, but we're transitioning from my current website to a new tednugent.com. But we do a lot of charity work. We have a Ted Nugent camp for kids for 36 years, training thousands and thousands of kids in the heartland to be disciplined and to know how to be an environmentalist and leave things cleaner than we found them, to be hunters and fishermen, safe gun handlers, disciplined marksmen, know how to do community work and be an asset to their family instead of a liability, starting with being clean and sober. So the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids has had volunteers and such success stories. We have parents now bringing their children to the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids who were kids at my camp 30 years ago. So that's, I think, the most powerful stuff that we do.
All right, well, Ted, always great to catch up.
Yes!
And we'll take a break. We'll come back with the news right after this.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts is in the business of keeping your car on the road. They offer friendly, helpful service and all the knowledge you need. If you can't figure out why your car's having an issue, and sometimes I can't figure it out, well, then my first call is always to O'Reilly. They have thousands of parts in stock and can test your battery for free. Need wiper blades? They'll help you out. Brake lights, quick fix. They'll get you the right part. Everyone who works there is knowledgeable and friendly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto, well, they're your one-stop shop for DIY auto stuff. You can do it in-store. You can do it online. Either way, you always go with O'Reilly. Am I right, Dawson?
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
You swear?
If I'm lying, I'm dying.
This is the mindset. Free. This is the mantra. Free. This is the mindset.
With movies like Interstellar, Dreamgirls, and Gladiator.
Are you not entertained?
And TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts. Pluto TV is always free. Huzzah! Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam and Alicia. You said you wanted more women calling in, so here I am. And I love your plan for Baja. I live in Israel, and I live down in Eilat, which is absolutely beautiful on the Red Sea, right at the border of Egypt and Jordan. And I think your Baja idea is fantastic. I'm willing to come and set up a bunch of trailers and caravans to start out and live in a van. Hashtag van life. Good idea. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yeah, I've said it for over 30 years now, thinking back on it, because it was a Kevin and Bean bit I used to do in the 90s, which is move the Jews to Baja. And
have them develop some things.
I was like, look, this is 1994, right? I'm going, look, Jews, you're always going to be despised in that world, in that region. You can do battle. I've said this a million times. Let me say something about Jews. Jews are like roommates who put down a cleaning deposit, and they have drunkard, machete-wielding, insane gonzo roommates, and I'm saying to the Jew, move out. And the Jew's going, I put the cleaning deposit down. And it's like, I know, eat it. Now move. And they go, no way. Why doesn't Jake and Duke move out? And I'm like, they're maniacs, and they're going to kill you in your sleep, and they're smoking crystal meth. And it's like, fuck that. I found this apartment. It's like, okay, I understand. This is rightfully your apartment, but these maniacs are going to kill you in your sleep. So give up your cleaning deposit and move.
I love how it's like Hamas cartel.
That's right.
Like the game.
Move it. Just give it up and move it out to Baja and start kicking some ass.
Yeah.
It would work.
Yeah.
But anyway. And
could you do it the next couple of weeks? Because I'm supposed to go to Mexico soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, would it help Mexico.
Oh.
Boy, would the Jews help
tourists could
Mexico.
actually feel safe.
The Jews are really good at order.
Yeah.
They get
and taking out bad guys.
They're just good. Yeah, they're good at stuff. They're good for society. So Jews and gays, actually.
Oh.
So they
you ever see like Palm Beach before some of the gays moved in? There were parts you could not go to.
I wrote in one of my books, and I can't remember which one it was, I go, listen, go to Santa Monica Boulevard and Western. Santa Monica Boulevard and Western is fucking old Mexico. It's junk. It's littered with garbage. It's ugly, and it's a fucking mess. And then take that same street, Santa Monica, and just start walking toward the ocean. Eventually, it'll be pristine. There'll be grass in the medium. There won't be any more garbage or graffiti, nothing on the ground. That's when you got to the gay part.
Yep.
So that's how it works.
Yep.
Jews would clean up. And by the way, the president of Mexico is like named Scheinbaum or something. Like, you got a Jew in there already. She can kick open that door, let some of those Jews
when she's
in.
not trying to give the cartels their rights. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
She was talking about how like, well, they have like rights too. And it's like,
she's a shit show, but she has a familiar last name. She may be in the tribe, and she could help open doors in Baja.
She is in the tribe.
She's in the tribe. Okay. And, listen, you guys, you do gefilte fish, but a fish taco is kick ass. And
there's no dairy on it.
Yeah.
So you're like not mixing.
Don't start doing a gefilte fish taco. That's a shit show. People are like, Jews are nuts. Jews are like, wouldn't it be great if Jell-O...
I don't know if we're going to get like so much love or so much hate for this.
Jews are like, wouldn't it be great if Jell-O came in cod flavor? Ugh, no.
But Rugula's real good.
They do some good stuff, but they do some stunt eating too. Lots of tongue, lots of organs. You know what I mean?
I mean, the organs are typically high in iron.
I know,
like pretty good for you.
like chicken gizzards, chicken liver. Ugh. My grandfather, all he wanted was some stuffed goose liver. That's all he wanted. He sat there in North Hollywood. It's like, if I could only get my hands on stuff of goose liver, fattened goose liver.
Yeah, it's like a pate. Like he makes a pate out of
but
it?
it's like, hey, we got laws in this country.
I do like a pate.
They used to feed, they'd force feed them.
Oh, I know.
Anyway.
I know.
All right.
I also like veal. I have no qualms about eating animals of all ages and sizes.
All right. News.
The news. Katie Couric recently interviewed Gavin Newsom, and to her credit, she did kind of lay out some stats on California and like why would anybody want to live there. But then she faced online roasting after a snippet of the interview with Gavin appeared online, asking if he's too good looking and if that's a problem for him.
Yes.
Do you have a Zoolander problem?
No, Jesus. Yeah, Zoolander.
Are Are you just ridiculously good looking, as Vogue
hardly,
said?
hardly.
No, seriously, what do you do about that?
You don't do anything about it, because if you're going to do something about it, then you're bullshitting people. You know what? I am who I am, and it's fine. You don't have to like me, or maybe you like a slick person. I don't know. Whatever. It's okay.
But the reason why I brought it up because you talked about being authentic, and I think it sometimes works against you.
Yeah, it's just who I am.
I'm so ridiculously good looking. Usually you at least try to humble brag. He didn't even try to humble brag. He just is like, yeah, I am who I am. I'm hot.
Well, so fuck Katie Couric, by the way. I will say,
No.
you know why? Because fuck all these newscasters. Because their whole thing, think about this. Just do the math, everybody. They're all fair and balanced, right down the middle, just calling balls and strikes. I don't bring my own politics in anything. The second they retire from whatever news outlet they work for, they're all hard lefties.
Well, most of them were hard lefties before.
Well, that's that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're hard lefties who are trying to pass themselves out as just people calling balls and strikes. No, you're fucking not. That's the problem with the legacy media. And then the second they get out, it's all about trans people. Like her number one subject is trans people.
I feel like the problem is not just the legacy media. It's maybe culturally that we're so used to, let's talk about how good looking so-and-so is, and then ask them their stance on Roe v. Wade.
Right.
And it's like that you have to play this hard-hitting journalist, but then like throw in a little sprinkle of like what will be fun on a morning show.
Yeah, he doesn't. So Gavin Newsom, and by the way, I know everyone's making fun of him for sort of saying he was hot, but it wasn't really what he was doing. He's just such a word salad shooter that he just gets tripped up and does the authentic me and stuff like that. He was trying to say, I'm authentic, love me or hate me or whatever, but it ended up coming across as don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
I feel like he has the male Kamala problem in that they both seem incredibly inauthentic to me.
Well,
I think out of every
listen, there's a clip of him talking to who's the other clip that he's talking to that's in your it's not in your thing.
When he was talking to Adam Friedland.
That one,
Yep.
yeah. Everyone's making fun of this clip because like, oh, he's hot, but he's really just in a jumbled way saying I am who I am. So I don't care about this. It's this clip, which is incredible because somebody just said to him, "What do you want? Like what do you like? What do you do?" Like if someone said to me, "Adam, you want to be mayor of LA? What do you got?" I go, "This place is too trashy. There's garbage everywhere. It looks like shit.
We should fill in the potholes after the rain.
There's shit everywhere. It's just like shopping carts and graffiti and everything's like grown over. Like we're LA. Come on, let's clean it up. I want to get this place cleaned up." Like I would do 20 minutes on that. I would do 20 minutes on turning right on a red. I'd do 20 minutes on blinkers. You know what I realized the other day?
Not handing out free needles.
Blinkers, while I complain a lot about blinkers on the road, on the freeway, people are changing lanes like I don't know where they're going. The worst is I was in a kind of crowded parking lot the other day, and it's like you're going this way and the other person's coming the other way, and you're like looking at them, they're looking at you, and it's like, you're not... Are you turning? Like, I don't know. I would, if you're turning, I would, but you're not doing anything. And now I go in front of you and then you turn. Like, it's even worse in the crowded parking lot. Like, I don't know where you're going. All right. So this is Gavin Newsom being asked, like, what are your subjects? Yeah. What are you passionate about? And he says,
what is your defined political project? Like what throughout your career and like right now?
Love
like
it.
What is the thing you want to like? You want to accomplish like politically?
I don't have
in your life.
I don't have like a brand. I don't have a tag, "Make America Great," or I don't, the Great Society. Or,
all right, pause it there. First off, you don't have to turn it into a "you're above it" question. He's saying, is it taxes? Is it homelessness?
What are you going to do?
The bullet train? Like, yeah, I don't do cute one-word answers for. It's like, no, that's not what he's asking for. He wants to know what your subjects are that you're passionate about. So anyway,
education,
he's right.
You know.
Oh no, he's above it all.
with his Make America Great Again or whatever. But all right, here it is. Sir.
I don't have like a brand. I don't have a tag, Make America Great, or I don't, the Great Society, or something like Medicare for all the billionaires.
Guys looking at him.
But for me, no bullshit. It's just standing up for ideals, striking out against injustice. It defines my why.
All right, hold on.
What ideals?
Well, he's striking out against injustice. Okay, but his version of striking out against injustice is letting as many people come and live in your city illegally as you want. But that's not my version
and giving
of
them
striking out.
Against and lowering felonies to misdemeanors.
And letting males kick ass on females in sports. That's his idea of injustice, but that's the opposite of justice for me.
But also he knows that that's the opposite of justice for not just you and I, but the majority of Americans. And as he's gearing up to run for president, he doesn't want it on tape saying that he stands for those things. So this is why he uses the broad word salad.
But he's such a narcissistic douche that somebody is asking him, what do you want? And most people got to get nuts and boltsy at this point. Infrastructure, school, homeless, whatever, education. He stands up against injustice wherever he finds. He thinks of himself as a retarded superhero. Like wherever he sees injustice, he flies in and fixes it. By the way, you have homeless people dying on the streets every day in California, in San Francisco, in LA. What injustice are we talking about? What do you mean? And what are you doing about it? But anyway, he fancies himself a guy who just stands up to injustice. But keep going.
But for me, no bullshit. It's just standing up for ideals, striking out against injustice. It defines my why in every way, shape, form.
This is why.
Stand up for ideals, strike out against injustice. I'm a Sarge Shriver Democrat. I'm into that whole 60s, the vernacular of the 60s, solving for ignorance and poverty and disease, and the spirit of the 60s, and the spirit of King, and and how the nonviolent movement, and Gandhi, and Havel, and Mandela, that moral authority, that whole space. That's the zeitgeist. And so that's me. That's my dad. That's my mom.
All right, pause it for a second. Remember I told you guys I've been sounding an alarm for like 10 years going, we are fucking in trouble because we have people just talk about ideas and they never do anything. Like, this does not get you a dam built. This does not get you lower gas prices. This does not give you lower energy prices. It doesn't get that tram to LAX finished. It doesn't get the bullet train done. It's just you standing up.
It doesn't.
And by the way, you're just standing up and fighting Trump. Meanwhile, your fucking state's falling apart. I want some actual. I want to know what's on the menu. I want the specials.
I also, what about Mandela? Like, what about MLK? What about the 60s? Because part of the 60s was no bueno for the country, including like the sex and drug movement.
Right. All right. But he's taking this time to move his hands a lot and explain to everyone.
He uses his hands more than I do.
He's a hero. He's basically explaining that he's a hero, but he's got no specifics. But all right, keep playing it.
The spirit of the 60s, and the spirit of King, and and how the nonviolent movement, and Gandhi, and Havel, and Mandela, that moral authority, that whole space. That's the zeitgeist. And that's me. That's my dad. That's my mom. That's the book, and that's my why. And so
that's his
standing
why.
up for ideals is what Gay Marriage. It was about work I'm doing right now to sort of push back.
All right, pause it. Okay, listen. In a state that has huge problems.
Yes.
That just burned to the ground because we didn't have the proper infrastructure and we didn't clear the forest and all this kind of stuff. The first tangible topic he brought up was gay marriage. This is what I'm talking about. All these fuckers want to talk about trans and the gay movement. It's all they want to fight. I do want, here's my whole thing. Manage the forest, fix the reservoirs, get water flowing through the hydrants, get rid of the crazy homeless people, fill the potholes, pick up the garbage, clean up the graffiti, and then we can talk about the trans issue. How about that? How about that?
Also, maybe like teaching our kids to read in school would be nice.
Yes, absolutely. Gay marriage is the first thing he brings up. Gay marriage is 28 years old, and it's already been codified. It's illegal. Leave it alone. But he's a champion for gay marriage. Gay marriage doesn't stop the Palisades from burning down. All right, thanks. Here we go.
why. And so standing up for ideals is what Gay Merged. It was about what I'm doing right now to sort of push back. We can lose this country. And just
Push
feeling
back.
like I have to be held to account and strike out against the injustices of the day.
So if you had to define it, like, vote
I need
for
your help
me
to define
and you get
Well, you tell
X.
me. You're better at
What?
this.
I don't know. I don't know who you. What
I
your
just gave
shit
you
is.
my why, but how do you
I'm saying-
translate that into human?
What? So
All right, you got to pause
I
it
love
there.
that guy.
The guy basically,
Say, if you
that's
vote for me, you
pause. That's a meme for Gavin Newsom. That guy just going, what? What? Hey, politician guy, I asked you what your topics were
Yep.
5 minutes ago, and you talked about Mandela striking a fight for gay marriage.
Yeah.
And striking out
He
against
literally
injustice.
said, quote, so if you had to define it, vote for me and you get X. And Newsom's like, I just gave you that.
And he also wants the other guy to define it for him.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could pick education.
I mean, I say it as a middle child people pleaser, man. That man is such a people pleaser. He does not know anything.
Oh, I'll play it again because it's so funny when the guy goes, what?
To account and strike out against the injustices of the day.
So if you had to define it, like, vote
I need
for
your help
me
to define
and you get
Well, you tell
X.
me. You're better at this.
I don't
Tell
know.
me.
I don't know who you. What
I
your
just gave
shit
you
is.
my why, but how do you
I'm
translate
saying-
that into human?
What? So if you say, like, make it appeal to a voter, right? Say if you vote for me, you get X.
Yeah.
Like, what in a kind of concise.
By the way, pause it.
tangible sense-
When I was talking to him about predatory check cashing places and black
Yes.
and brown people, this is all I was doing. It's like, you tell me.
Yes.
Okay, you
Yes.
brought up a problem. Yes. What is the problem? It is black and brown people don't have access to checking accounts. Okay. Now tell me what you would do to fix this.
Yes.
Because all politicians do by nature is they go, here's the problem,
Here's how we can fix it.
and here's how we can fix
Yes.
it. He never does the here's how we can fix it part, which is insane for a politician.
But this is how Democrats get away with it. Is they
Yes.
talk about affordability. They talk about injustice. They
Right,
talk about
right.
the problem.
That's right.
And they're like, oh, it's so not fair. And you have voters, men and women, that are like, you know what? He's right. That's not fair.
Not fair.
And most people aren't going to see the entirety of this clip, right?
I
They're just
guess.
going to see like what he chooses to spend on his Iowa ads when he runs for president.
All right, we'll play it out just because it's still funny.
The guy's what?
Make it appeal to a voter, right? Say if you vote for me, you get X.
Yeah.
Like, what in a kind of concise, tangible sense? Talking to a regular guy.
Yeah, no.
What
And I-
is
this
what is that?
I've
offer?
struggled with being able to communicate. I told you what my why is and why I'm here, and I mean that. And that's ingrained in every aspect of my life, and it connects the dots.
All right, so I've listen, there's a very long paper trail of me saying, you don't get it. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Not dumb. He doesn't say anything that makes sense. And people, because people are numb and they're dumb, they're numb and dumb, they go, yeah, I like that guy. I'm like, he doesn't say anything. I have no idea. He came on this show and we play him talking about, the check cashing stuff, and we'll play the homeless thing where he was talking about moms, and he's insane. But there was another one where I was trying to press him on traffic. I was going, LA's got horrible, horrible traffic. Can we attempt to fix the horrible traffic? And he did that same thing. It's like started laughing. By the way,
It's an issue I care about. Did he say something like that even?
He weirdly laughs at things when I'm going.
Are pretty serious.
Yeah, I'll play. This is his remedy for traffic.
And California, with some of the worst traffic in the world, doesn't have a policy that Idaho thought of.
Is that right?
This can't be the first time you've heard this.
Well, not specifically this. I saw a billboard out on the 405 says you're not stuck in traffic. And you're thinking, how the hell? What does that mean? It says you are traffic, which I kind of like, which sort of made the point about our own behavior. That said, I hate the blocking the box stuff, which we don't enforce.
So his resolve is to don't drive to work? Don't bring your kids to school because you are the
What
traffic?
if oncologists work this way? Hey, doctor, I have stage 5 lymphoma cancer. I saw A bumper sticker said, you don't have cancer, you are cancer. How about that?
It's deep.
Yeah, okay, douche. I'm trying to fix a problem called traffic.
And
you're telling me a sign that you saw when you were sitting in traffic that you were traffic.
Yeah.
That doesn't help us solve the problem.
Actually,
by the way, he's an insane person for answering my question that way. And by the way, the whole check cashing thing, insane. 20 minutes of me saying, what is the plan? And him never explaining a thing. People don't, that's 13 years old. People don't know. The guy's vacuous. He's a fucking nut. He's a sociopath. And it's your fault for voting for this guy who has zero ideas. People are like, oh, Gavin Newsom. This is old.
Yep.
These are old.
He's been this way.
He's been this way.
Yep.
This is who he is.
This ain't new.
But I don't know. Does he not have handlers? Does his fucking wife not pull him aside and go, you can't just fucking speak gibberish with your hands? His hands move like he's in an origami competition. That's his fucking hands. Like, I'm making 30 swans in 10 seconds. It's fucking... Someone's got to tell him, you have to come. I'll play the most insane one. It's Kara Swisher, who's on his side, who's asking him, and this is like 5 years old. I heard it on the radio. I always play it, is why this man is clinically insane, because I'm asking him how to solve this problem with checking accounts, and he keeps bringing it up, but he never says anything. I'm talking to him about traffic, and he's talking about being traffic.
Yes.
Kara Swisher 5 years ago, says people are leaving California. What's the plan? Let's hear his answer.
Said it best, where the hell are you going to go? And, I love Texas. Don't get me wrong.
Is that the new California motto? Where the hell are you going to go?
I don't know, but he said it. But it was an interesting point, because where are you going to get so many of the other things on the balance sheet?
But you are aware that
it's Jerry Brown, the former governor. Jerry Brown's also a fucking retarded idiot. He said, where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
Other than California? He said that in 1979.
He and Rick Perry, who was the governor at the time, back 2012, 2013, of Texas, Rick Perry and Jerry Brown had this back and forth about Texas versus California. So that's always been like a vibe, because I think a lot of Californians have gone to Texas and now to Arizona and Tennessee and other places. And then, you're right. The fact that Kerry's like, that's not really a winning motto.
Yeah, Kara.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rick Perry and then Kerry and then Kara. Sorry. So, no, it's all right. So, first thing he does is he quotes Jerry Brown and goes, where else are you going to go? And then she goes, well, you can go anywhere. And he goes, yeah, I didn't say it. Jerry Brown did. Like, you're quoting a guy. Why? Don't quote a guy and then say, I didn't say it.
Your predecessor who endorsed you and helped you.
Yeah, it's like no football coach in high school goes, the great Vince Lombardi said, if you can't run around it, run through it. Really, coach? Yeah, no, that's Vince. I don't believe in that shit. You guys do what you want. Don't fake an injury. All right, so just play from the top, because it's kind of crazy that he does
Former Governor Brown said it best, where the hell are you going to go? And, I love Texas. Don't get me wrong.
Is that the new California motto? Where the hell are you going to go?
I don't know, but he said it. But it was an interesting point, because where are you going to get so many of the other things in the balance sheet?
But you are aware that I've lived there for 2 decades, essentially. And this is the first time I've had people really talking about not being there, and not that they could figure it out somewhere else. I don't think that's true. I think they can figure out where they're going to go.
Yeah, and then that means, but it's not a zero-sum game.
No one knows what that means.
Okay, I have a friend who just went to
all right,
Utah.
Pause. Okay, here's the part where he's going to tell a story.
Yes.
Where you go, I have a friend, and that friend moved to Oregon, and he lived there for a couple years. He hated it. And him and his wife moved back, and they're living in Malibu right now. That's the story you would tell if you're trying to make your own point.
Yes.
Here's the story he tells about a friend who moved to Utah.
Beautiful. It may be the right thing for him. They've made a ton of money. They have the ability to take their kids out of public school into private school, and they're doing that.
Good.
And, I imagine they're not going to turn their back forever on California. Former governor.
Okay, so your example is I know a couple that moved out.
And they love it. And they can afford more stuff.
And hypothetically, he may move back one day, except for I don't think he ever's gonna, because he seems to be having a pretty good time
If
in
he does,
Provo.
it'll be 6 months and 1 day in Utah, and then the rest of the time here in California.
All right, that answer is the same answer you get with you aren't stuck in traffic, you are traffic.
yeah.
Like, hey, people are leaving. What do you have to say, Governor? I know people who left. Okay. Nice job. He's clinically insane to provide those kinds of answers in these kinds of forms. And I've told people about this forever, and they don't seem to listen to me, but maybe the word is getting out.
Hopefully.
All right. You can go to adamcarolla.com. I got live shows coming out. Santa Ana, we're going to do the Jordan Family Classic Car Museum over there with the Paul Newman collection coming up March 22nd. Then off to Norfolk, Nebraska. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all live stuff. Alicia Krause going to be in Lincoln this weekend doing a wonderful speaking engagement there. AliciaKrause.com is where you go. And the great Ted Nugent. Until next time, it's Adam for Ted and Alicia saying mahalo.